Thursday, January 8th, 2026 council session. I am not Alan Clendenin, and I am also apparently not as funny as him. So he is not well, so he's going to be participating virtually today. So we will talk about that later, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew he will be participating, but just virtually. So we are going to start with invocation, but before we start with the invocation, we are all going to stand for a moment of silence for Renee Good and the city and the people of Minneapolis. Thank you so much. Councilmember Carlson, would you like to introduce today's invocation?
Yes, Rabbi Simon, come on up. All of us know him because he's been here before, but for the public, Rabbi Joel Simon originally joined Congregation Shaare Zedek in 2007 as assistant rabbi, becoming associate rabbi in 2010 after serving 3 years as senior rabbi of Congregation Shur Ami in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Rabbi Simon returned to Shaare Zedek in July 2018 as senior rabbi. Rabbi Simon grew up in Denver, Colorado, and holds degrees in psychology and Jewish studies from the University of Arizona Honors College, a Master of Educational Administration with specialization in Jewish education from Xavier University, and both a Master's of Arts in Hebrew Letters degree and rabbinic ordination from the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion in Cincinnati, Ohio. And I'll just say this as a representative of South Tampa, his congregation is one of the most important in South Tampa, and the school is the one that everybody wants to get in. So thank you for coming. Everybody stand and for this in the pledge.
Please stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
City Councilman Carlson, thank you for inviting me here this morning, and I wish you all a happy new year. It's always such an honor to be able to join you all to offer words of blessing and lessons from our tradition as you all gather to lead this great city. In the Jewish religion, we read the first 5 books of the Bible, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, from beginning to end on a yearly cycle, reading the entirety of the 5 books every year. And in every synagogue around the world on a given week, everyone is reading the same section. The reading for this week is the beginning of the book of Exodus, as Moses, a Hebrew who was raised in Pharaoh's palace, seeing oppression, knowing that it was wrong, was called by God through the voice of a burning bush to lead his people to freedom. But Moses didn't want the job. He didn't think he was up for the job. He was just a shepherd, one of slow speech, perhaps with a stutter at that. Moses had every reason in the world to think that he couldn't do the job, but God had faith in him, and that was enough. Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors. May our city's leaders be inspired by these lessons of Moses, recognizing first what it means to stand in humility, to work from one's position for one's people, not out of entitlement, but out of obligation and with a purpose. And may we also remember the ability of every person to make a difference, not in spite of their adversity, of the challenges they may face, but because of them. For those challenges are gifts as well, as they strengthen us and inspire us to try that much harder. May this year of 2026 be a year of growth for all of us and our city, growth in knowledge, growth in compassion, growth in understanding of the other, a year in which we come that much closer to homes, to a community, and to a world living in peace, as we say, Amen. Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much for those wonderful words this morning. Let's go ahead and do a roll call, please.
Miranda, Maniscalco, Young,
Here.
Vieira, Carlson, Clendenin,
Here.
Hurtak.
Here.
We have a physical quorum.
First, we need to go ahead and do a, Mr. Shelby, we need to approve Councilman Clendenin's participation?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a motion from Councilmember Vieira, second from Councilmember Maniscalco to allow our chair to participate virtually. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
And would he then be passing the gavel for you to conduct the meeting?
Well, let's hear him. Let's hear what he has to say. Oh, he's muted.
Yeah, I'm just like everybody else. Good morning, everybody. Happy 2026 for everybody that's not sick, which I think is some of the minority in Tampa right now. I was going to come in, but I just did. When I woke up this morning, I realized I was going to get everybody else sick, and I didn't want to do that to everybody. And yes, I would gladly pass the gavel to my chair pro tem.
Okay, so does that need to be a motion, Mr. Shelby?
No.
No? Okay. Well, thank you so much. Gavel acquired. So first, I would like to, can someone do an adoption of the minutes for the regular session held on December 8th, 2025? I have a 18th, thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Maniscalco, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we need to go ahead and look at the agenda and its addendum. Right now for the consent agenda, I have item number 32 from Councilmember Carlson. You want to pull that?
Yeah.
You want to hear that at the beginning of staff reports?
I don't care what order,
Okay.
but I just like to pull it from consent so that we can discuss
Okay.
it. But also, I'd like to make the point that we have a rule that a summary needs to be explicit, and the summary does not include a name of the project that this is connected to. And by the way, since the last time we talked about it, the administration changed the name of the project, so people are confused by it. Because it didn't, because it doesn't even have the name of the project in the summary, I think the public hasn't had a chance to really look at this, but at least we can continue it, move it to a discussion later, but really we should continue it.
Okay, I have a motion to move it, to pull it. Oh, no, I don't need a motion to pull it, do I? Okay.
Excuse me, Martin Shelby, good morning, City Council Attorney, to remove it from the consent docket and place it under staff reports.
Okay, I have a motion to move item 32. I have from Councilmember Carlson, a second by Councilmember Maniscalco, all in, to staff reports. Yep, all in favor? Aye. Okay. So I know that Councilman Vieira would like to move item number 57 to be heard first under staff reports. Is that?
Yes, ma'am, if I may, I don't think it's going to take too darn long, just because it's been continued, first or second, if there's anything, but at the top of that agenda,
Okay.
if I may.
So I have a motion from Councilmember Vieira, second from Councilmember Maniscalco to move item 57 to the top of staff reports. Any, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we have no administration update. I had a motion to move items 45, 46, and 48 after 59, but what I actually want to do is put 59 before 45, 46, and 48. So we're going to, if someone could make that
So
motion
moved.
for me. Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Carlson to move item 59. I suppose it will be right around after item 57 or 32 in that vicinity. A second from Councilman Maniscalco. All in favor? Aye. Okay. As far as item number 47, we have a request from staff to continue item 47 to February 5th. Okay. I have a motion from Board Member Maniscalco, seconded by Board Member Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's do this. Item number 49, do we need staff?
No.
Okay.
If you could just announce that publicly,
Yes, item number 49, we are not going to have staff for that.
thank you.
Item number 50? Anyone? We do not need staff for that. And then the decrease of 4.5 million, by the way, is going into new generators, new turbines, something like that. So very excited about that we're saving. Item number 51, do we need staff? Okay. Item number 52, do we need staff? Okay.
Madam Chair.
Item number 52, we do not need staff.
Okay, but
Yes.
if I can, just a reminder, please, at the end of your consent docket.
Yes, we will, that's why I'm writing them down.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so item number 53, I believe, we already discussed that. We're moving that. No, that was 57.
Yes,
So-
ma'am. If I may, Madam Chair?
Yes.
So for 53, I think I sent a memo.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, on it, so it pretty much makes the point moot. I wanted to address it, if I may, before
course.
lunch, because I saw walk in a gentleman who's going to be here for it, Assistant Hillsborough County Fire Chief Morris Lopez, somewhere out there. And it'll literally take 2 minutes. May I do that before lunch?
Sure.
If I may, thank you. So,
Sure,
yeah, and no staff.
Okay, so no staff for that, and we will, I'm guessing we'll go ahead and put it after our second readings then, ideally. Let's knock on wood there. Okay, so no staff for 53. What about 54? Council member?
What was that? I apologize.
54?
Oh, yeah, no, so report's fine.
Okay. Let's see. 54, 55. Yes, okay, definitely. 56. Yes, we want staff for 56. 58.
Move
Staff
to,
is- yeah.
move to continue this to February 5th per staff request.
Okay. Motion by Councilmember Carlson, second by Councilman Maniscalco. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, item number 59. I already moved that forward. And item number 60 says, yes, staff will be present for that. And then item number 61.
That I got a briefing on it, and then that'll come up in the future in some form. So
Agreed.
I'll bring it up then.
Okay, so motion to receive and file item number 61 by
So moved.
Councilman Maniscalco. Second by Councilman Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, is there anything else in the consent agenda?
If I may, for 57, I am requesting that staff be there.
Okay.
I'm going to have some discussions on that. I don't, we'll discuss it during lunch, but I prefer staff to be there with the information that I have.
Okay, excellent. So do I have a motion to approve this agenda?
So moved. And the
Okay.
addendum.
Yes, thank you. I have a motion to approve the agenda and its addendum by Councilman Maniscalco, seconded by Councilman Miranda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Shelby.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, members of council, members of the public. Martin Shelby, City Council Attorney. Happy New Year. We are here to talk about the rules of decorum and the opportunity for public comment at today's meeting. Members of the public are allowed a reasonable opportunity at the beginning of today's meeting after the ceremonial items to address any item on the agenda before City Council takes official action on the item. A 3-minute time limit applies to all speakers providing public comment. Now, please be aware that preference is given during general public comment to those speakers speaking on agenda items first, followed by those people who wish to speak to off-agenda items. Now, if you want to speak to general public comment at the start of the meeting, please fill out a speaker card and place it in the box that's outside the chambers, 1 card per speaker. Cards will be accepted until the start of general public comment. Each person submitting a card will be recognized by name by the chair to approach and speak. As I said, a 3-minute time limit applies. Please print legibly because names that cannot be read will not be called. Now, if you are here to speak at a public hearing, if you look at the agenda, there are those specific items that you may be here for that are listed as public hearing. If that is the case, do not fill out a card. Instead, there is a sheet at the podium outside. Put your name on that sheet, and your name will be called in the course of the meeting when that public meeting agenda item is opened, and you will have that opportunity to speak.
Mr. Shelby.
Yes.
Those are items number 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, and 43.
And thank you for that reminder to the public and for my reminder to be able to bring that to people's attention as well. So as the chair said, the opportunity to speak then will be during the meeting and not at general public comment. Now, speakers and members of the public are also reminded to please refrain from disruptive behavior. including making vulgar or threatening remarks or making or causing disruptive noises or sounds or displaying signs or graphics. The chair will rule out of order any person who speaks without first being recognized or attempts to address the City Council from outside the speaker area at the podium. Persons failing to comply with council rules may also be ruled out of order and, at the discretion of the chair, may be removed from the chambers for the remainder of today's meeting. Finally, City Council members should refrain from engaging a speaker during public comment. And the public, please be aware that the City Council does not take questions or have a dialogue with you during general public comment. This is your opportunity to express your position. Thank you. Thank you, Council.
Yes, and I apologize, I forgot to mention that Chief Bennett is not available today, and instead Ms. McGregor is going to be here. There is not a staff report, we already talked about that, or an administrative update, but she is here. So I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge someone from the administration is here today. Okay, so we get to start off with our Police Officer of the Month commendation. So very excited this morning, Ms. Councilman Vieira.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. It's a great pleasure to be here today. We're going to be doing our Tampa Police Officer of the Month, and like I always say, we always do this to reflect the values of our City of Tampa and Tampa City Council that always supports our first responders, including our law enforcement officers. And here to talk about this very, very worthy honoree, we have here Dr. Chief Burkock. Come forward, sir.
Thank you, and good morning, Council. As we begin the new year, there is encouraging news across the nation. Early estimates show that murders are declining by an average of 20% nationwide. That matters, that's progress, but in Tampa, not only did we do that, we pushed past it. In 2025, Tampa recorded 19 murders, the lowest number in over half a century, and well over 40% from the year prior. Non-fatal shootings dropped by approximately 35%, and property crime continued to decline, and our homicide clearance rate remains above the national average. Tampa didn't simply fall within the scope of the broader national trends, we outperformed them. That work starts on the front lines. The brave men and women wearing the Tampa Police badge are the foundation of this progress. They answer the call every hour of the day and night. They run towards the danger, and they take real life risks into removing violent offenders from our streets. We rely on their professionalism, their courage, and their commitment. With tomorrow being Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, I'd like to start early and appreciate all of our Tampa police officers for the work that they do, and they are making a real difference in our community. In addition, Tampa saw double-digit percentage reductions in auto thefts and auto burglaries. Moreover, traffic fatalities declined by more than 20%, and this is a really great stat. DUI-related deaths dropped by an extraordinary 75%. Those aren't just statistics, those are lives saved. Just as important as enforcement is trust. Strong relationships with the community are not optional, they are essential. This is evident in many aspects, including the increased participation we're seeing in Neighborhood Watch and the more that we're requesting. And another is our engagement with our youth. And that brings us to our Officer of the Month today. Caitlin Parrish is our Officer of the Month, and she's a valued member of the Tampa Police Department. She is currently assigned to the Police Athletic League as the Police Explorer Post Advisor. And our explorers, some of them are here to support Caitlin. They are 14 to 20-year-olds that are aspiring to learn more about law enforcement. This is a role that requires leadership, organization, and operational oversight. Caitlin manages training, scheduling, supervision, and coordination while ensuring the program operates safely and efficiently in alignment with departmental standards. Under her leadership, this program has more than doubled. Officer Parrish also oversees the planning and execution of state-level Explorer competitions hosted by the Tampa Police Department, of which we have hosted 3 continuous ones in the last 3 years, and we remain in the top 10 over the last 2 years, with several individual awards receiving first-place trophies. These events take months of preparation, careful coordination, and they are executed so well that the Florida Association of Police Explorers has requested again to return to Tampa as their host. Officer Parrish goes above and beyond in her scheduling hours, adjusts her availability, and accepts additional responsibilities without hesitation. Her dedication, professionalism, and commitment to supporting others truly reflects the best qualities of a Tampa police officer. Throughout her career, she has consistently demonstrated professionalism, accountability, and dedication in the performance of her duties, and she performs every assignment with sound judgment, strong work ethic, and commitment to excellence that reflects positively on the department and the youth that she is mentoring. And for her consistent performance, leadership, and commitment to the Tampa Police Department, she is truly deserving of this award, and congratulations for being Officer of the Month.
Thank you very much, Chief. And so, in here, if you don't mind, stand here, Madam. And so we really appreciate you, and we see here some wonderful young police explorers, and I saw you all outside, and just such a great reflection on the work that you do. It's very touching. I mean that. So before we formally honor you, hear from Tampa City Council, and we have some folks here from the community, starting with the PBA, who'd like to honor you, so come forward.
Just a quick reminder, please face the
And you actually
podium
do
so that we can hear you.
Good morning, Council. Brandon Barclay, Tampa PBA. Officer, we're presenting you this plaque for a job well done.
Thank you, sir.
Also, on behalf of Busch Gardens, Pete Brevy couldn't be here today. He's giving you and your family 4 complimentary passes to Busch Gardens.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Council. Jill Witecki, Tampa Theater. Thank you so much for being an inspiration to the young people in our community. And on behalf of Tampa Theater, we'd like to present you with an annual membership to come see us. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Council. Mary Dillon, Strass Center for the Performing Arts. Congratulations on your award. Thank you so much for your work in our community. On behalf of Strass, we have tickets to see the upcoming Choir of Man in February. I saw it twice last year. It was fantastic. I hope you go.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Casey Young, Friends of the Tampa Riverwalk. We'd like to present you with the Riverwalk paver. Congratulations,
much.
as well as some goodies from our board members, including Splitsville, Florida Avenue, Pirate Water Taxi, Lost Pearl, and Yacht Starship.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good morning, Council. I'm Jeff Houck. I'm Vice President of Marketing for the 1905 Family of Restaurants, and it's my honor to present a gift card on behalf of the 4th and 5th generation of the Gonsmart family. We're celebrating 121 years. Your work with the youth reminds me of George Guido, who worked for us for 62 years, who came to us at 15 years old as an at-risk youth and made a life for himself in the restaurant, and you're making lives for others who are starting out early, and you're doing great work, and I wanted to thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name's Mary Lou Bailey, and I'm here on behalf of the Board of Zoo Tampa, and this is...
I'm Mark Haney with Zoo Tampa.
We wanted to congratulate you and thank you for mentoring the young people. This is awesome. That's our future. Thank you for everybody who serves. You're all awesome. I'm talking in the mic. Sorry about that, Lynn. But anyway, really impressive story. And as a means of thank you, we're presenting you with an annual membership to the zoo. So you can go all year with your family. I'm very inspired by you, but I'm also very inspired by wildlife and conservation. And I hope you grow to share my passion. And Mark is going to show you this beautiful gift basket.
Well, we have a wolf, and just like you, wolves are very good at mentoring the younger wolves. And so there's an alpha female and an alpha male, and the alpha female really is an integral part of the pack in getting the young ones up to speed. So we thought this would be appropriate.
Thanks again.
Good morning, Council. Leo Gary with Bill Curry Ford. Congratulations, Officer Parrish. I say this every single time I'm up here, and I'm going to continue to say this. I appreciate and respect each and every one of you guys that puts that uniform on every single day and keeps this city, Tampa, safe for all of us in this room here today. So again, congratulations. I want to hand you a letter from Jennifer Curry, along with a gift card. And then there's also in here a gift certificate for your personal vehicle.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, for free maintenance. And then there's some other goodies in there as well.
Thank you.
Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Good morning, Council, Chief, Happy New Year. On behalf of the Glazer family and our entire organization, thank you. Those stats that you read off are impressive, and it's a credit to everyone in this room, from council on down. So thank you for your leadership, but your story is remarkable. And thank you and your family for the sacrifice that you put out and the mentorship and what you do to bring up the next generation. So we appreciate that. On behalf of the Glazer family and our entire organization, we have a little tradition at $1. Anybody that goes over and above gets a game ball. So I have your very own game ball there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. No fumbles.
Good morning, Steve McLean. You're still smiling. I'm not going to make you frown, so you can... Anyway, congratulations to you and to these young people who are following under your leadership. The youth is the key to the future, and we greatly appreciate your efforts in helping to guide them. On behalf of Jackson's Bistro, we're going to provide you with a gift certificate. You can enjoy yourself over there for lunch or dinner. On behalf of Daily Eats, which is the CRG Chicho Restaurant Group, enjoy yourself breakfast, lunch, or dinner. On behalf of Meat Market and Old Hyde Park, we're providing you the gift certificate. You can enjoy yourself over there, lunch or dinner. And then on behalf of Yummy House, I always say this, and it's true, that the chief wants you to take him over to Yummy House China Bistro. We're providing you the gift certificate. You can enjoy yourself. Make sure you take the letters. There's your gift certificate.
Thank you so
Take
much,
all of that
sir.
with you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, young people, for your dedication.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Madame, on behalf of a very grateful city of Tampa and Tampa City Council, it's our real genuine honor to give to you this Tampa City Council. And again, having these young people here, you know, God willing, to be wonderful future law enforcement officers, thanks in part to your work, just says a lot about the kind of person you are. So here you go. God bless you. And if you want to say anything, you may.
First, I'd like to thank City Council for this recognition. Being able to be here is just in part to show that I get to work for the greatest nation, or the greatest department in the nation, and that for me is a reward every day. I would be in part to not thank my husband and my son, my supportive parents, my family, because I wouldn't be able to do this without them, truly. I'd like to thank my command staff and my chain of command. I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing without them, to be able to have these young men and women be able to strive to do better. And I truly thank them to be able to allow me to mentor and lead the future generations of law enforcement. So thank you very much.
And now they'll speak. But if I may, can I have these folks just say your name really fast if you want?
Absolutely.
Just, if I may, Madam Chair, please, just tell us your name. And
Corporal Julian Cabrera. Corporal Roberts Garrett.
Captain Sarah Saruj Mahan. Major Ashley.
Thank you. And Council, go ahead.
Okay. Councilman Miranda.
Thank you. I know I look like Guido.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to see you here, and especially for young people behind you. And you know, the police officers can only do so much. And when you get young people and you get them involved in society and teach them what life is about, they certainly have a better opportunity to grow up as society leaders and do the right thing. And you know, when the chief mentioned stolen cars, I was thinking about back in the 90s, and you can verify this figure. I'm almost certain that there was over 11,000 cars stolen in the city of Tampa in 1 year back in the 90s. And it got down to a low of 450, which is one too many. But because of all yourself, like you and your cadets behind you, working and solving problems, it's what makes Tampa what it is. It's not about the elected officials. It's about the people who live in the city and want the city to go forward, who elect the elected officials. But thank you all very much for what you do on a daily basis and the fine organization you have under the leadership of your department and your union and all of you that make the city of Tampa better. Congratulations to all of you.
Councilman Maniscalco.
I'm glad that you brought up your family. Thanks to them and the sacrifice that they make and the sacrifice that you make every time you put on that uniform. But mentoring the youth and some of the young people are here with you that we got to meet. That's the future of the community, and you're laying down that groundwork and foundation. So that's so important. I hope you realize that, because you are opening up that path and helping them start that journey for a better city for tomorrow. So thank you very much. This is well deserved. Enjoy all the goodies that you've received, because there's a lot there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Carlson.
Thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for the young folks for getting involved as well. Community relations is one of the most important things that our police department can do, and Dr. Chief Burkall has done a fantastic job of that the last couple of years, and you see the results of it as he just talked about, and obviously you're a big part of it, so thank you for that. Also, you mentioned our police force being the best in the country. As I travel around the region, other government agencies complain because our pay is too high, and city council, I know police probably think it should be higher even, but we on city council have supported all the efforts to make sure that we pay well, because we want the best people in our police department. And the thing about it is that it's hard to get in our police department. There are very high standards, and because of that, it's great that you're helping to inspire people to potentially apply in the future to go through training with our police force. And we hope to continue building great relationships with the community, and also continue to hire the best folks out there. Thank you.
Councilmember Young.
Just thank you for your service and for your mentoring of the youth as well. Youth is a big passion of mine, and so to see you all walk up and wanting to be a part of the change and helping your community really means a lot. So thank you for your work, and thank you all for stepping up. Thank you.
And thank you again from a grateful city council. As a former educator myself, I'm so happy to see you being able to use your role to help mentor youth. It's really important, and I think one of my favorite parts of this is that everybody that that Chief brings forward just is able to use a personal passion to make their community better. And so it just reminds us that the police are an overarching agency where every part of a community. So I'm just really thrilled that we get to see people take their passions and able to use them for the good of the city in whatever their job is, but particularly in our law enforcement community. It's really neat. So I just really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for the young people who came to stand behind her today. I think it's just really, really wonderful. Appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much, and we'll give a few minutes for you, for all of you and your wonderful supporters to get ready for some photos outside. So thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. God bless you. Good luck. I mean that. Thank you. Everything all right? Yes, she's my daughter. What? I didn't know that.
The generation coming.
Way to go. That's awesome. I didn't know that. I would have. That's funny. Well, congratulations, Pops. That's a big deal. Hey, God bless you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Councilman Vieira.
Thank you very much.
Okay, y'all, we are still
And Chief Tripp, come on up, please, if I may.
Thank you.
Oh boy, that's a ball. Okay, If I may, thank you very much, Madam Chair. We are here to honor a very special woman, Miss Betty Coleman, who is here, who this year will mark 45 years since this and please come on forward, ma'am. Wonderful woman was hired as the first African-American female for Tampa Fire Rescue. That's a very, very big deal. She served for over 3 decades in Tampa Fire Rescue. So before I talk about her, just for that great fact alone and what it means, let's give her a big round of applause. One year before Ms. Coleman was hired, Mechi Fernandez Wright, who many of us know was hired as the first female firefighter, and a year later, Ms. Coleman would come. She is here with many, many people, including her daughter, Megan, her son, Cecil, Cecil, I'm sorry. 2 of her 8 grandchildren, Ariana and Janisa, who are here as well. And there's a good number of people here. Obviously, our wonderful Chief Tripp, who we're going to be hearing from, is here. We have here Mr. Johnny Primus representing Local 754. Obviously, they couldn't make it because of negotiations. I wanted to acknowledge with Hillsborough County Chief Morris Lopez. I know Bill Wade and folks from the retirees were going to be coming, as well as the office of Congresswoman Kathy Castor. So in 1981, Ms. Coleman was hired with Tampa Fire Rescue. In 1981, when she came on, President Reagan had only been president for 2 months. The Iranian hostages, 52 of them were just released by Iran. Journeys Don't Stop Believing was on the jukebox. And Charlie Miranda had been on city council for only 7 years back then, by the way. And Bob Martinez was our mayor. And at that time, this good woman would join Tampa Fire Rescue. It was 1981, and that was just 13 years after the formal end of Jim Crow, 13 years after the passage of the Fair Housing Law, 18 years after the murder of Medgar Evers, and 13 years after the murder of Martin Luther King. And the federal government was having a lot of local departments throughout the South End and North to open up for more opportunities for people, good people who were qualified and who would work hard and had previously been excluded. Sensing that, Ms. Coleman would apply. She worked at the water department. You were what, 21 years old?
20, yeah.
That's what I remember, yeah. 21 years old, she worked at the water department, and her family, I met with her, was very nervous, because obviously anybody who joins the fire department, it's very dangerous, and in 1981 and so forth, and she would do it. It would take a whole lot of courage for her to take that shot, and she would ultimately do it. She would serve for over 3 decades, and I got to tell you, everybody that I talked to about her has tremendous respect for her role, her part in history, and her amazing work ethic. I met her at a Tampa Fire Rescue retiree luncheon that I went to, and she was there with Megan, her wonderful daughter, and, you know, we meet, we talk, and then Megan goes, you know, she was the first African-American female hired by Tampa Fire Rescue, and I went, really? And Ms. Coleman goes, it's not a big deal, because she's so humble about it, and I said, that is a big deal, and we found out that this year would be 45 years, so we obviously wanted to honor her. She would begin at Station 1 in 1981 and would serve throughout all of the different stations within our city of Tampa, and she is a tremendous woman of Christian faith, something that's very important for her. If you go any Sunday, you will find her at New Hope Missionary Baptist Church, where she attends with her children and many of her grandchildren as well. And that's certainly one of the most important foundations of her life. So before we formally honor her and have her speak and so forth, and I know we have some folks here as well, Chief Tripp, please come forward, ma'am. Thank you.
Barbara Tripp, Fire Chief for Tampa Fire Rescue. So, Miss Betty is the reason I'm here today, because she has been a true trailblazer for the women of Tampa Fire Rescue. Regardless of what race they were, you and Michi was a trailblazer for her. So I can only imagine what you went through back in 1981, what I'm going through now, nothing compared to that. I'm just telling you, you know. And I know it wasn't easy, because it's not easy now, you know. So I just want to thank you. I had reached out to call Inspector Supervisor Coleman back in the day when I was having challenges of what to do and what not to do, being a female and an Afro-American in his career. And she gave me a lot of guidance and say, okay, this is what you worry about, this is what you don't worry about, you know. And I have to thank you for that, because I didn't stop, I didn't give up, And I thank you for allowing me to sit here today to be able to honor you, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here, because you paved those roads for us, you know. And as far as being an Afro-American, it's not that many of us in the fire service, you know. We try to recruit, you know, a lot of them don't understand, but it's a challenge, and that's with anyone, you know, not to make it a racial issue or anything, but you were that trailblazer for me. You was that trailblazer to help the females to continue to do what they're doing and to don't give up, because we work just as hard as those men do, you know, and sometimes even better, you know. But with that being said, and as we talk about her being a Christian woman, Christian faith, you know, I think about Proverbs 31 of a virtuous woman. So I took Proverbs 31 and I recreated to my ways, but I just wanted to read this to you. So, Miss Betty Coleman is a woman of wisdom in her strength and her virtue. She was and still is clothed with dignity, and she fills with divine confidence. She taught many through her work diligently, showed love selflessly, and served faithfully in all that she did in our community. Her words brought life, her actions reflect her glory, and her heart stayed rooted in truth. Ms. Coleman walked in excellence and courage to manage her time, her family, her home, and her calling with grace and joy. Ms. Coleman rose each day, 30 plus years. 30 plus years. I ain't made it yet, I'm trying, so pray for me, okay? 30 plus years with purpose, knowing that she has pleased her calling to her community and her God. God bless you, I thank you, and I'm gonna invite you to my retirement party.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you, Chief. Very much so from the heart. And I know, and I see Edgar here with Local 2294 with Hillsborough County Firefighters. Good to see you, buddy, and whatnot. So and by the way, was there any, I know, was anybody else here from any organization that I mentioned here to present anything or anything? I saw. Okay, yes, okay, please. So before we allow you to speak, ma'am, and your family here from y'all, I know we have a lot of folks from the community here to honor you. So come forward, guys, please.
Good morning. Wow, I'm humbled and honored to be here. On behalf of the Glazer family, you talk about a trailblazer, Chief, and a role model and setting a legacy. And I just want to thank your family and yourself for your dedication, your sacrifice, and all that you've done for our great city. On behalf of the Glazer family, we have a little tradition at $1. Anybody that goes over and above gets a game ball. Okay. And you have led by example and have lived it. And I just want to say thank you. And congratulations, 45 years. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good morning again, Council. Jill Witecki with Tampa Theater. And on behalf of one chapter of Tampa's history to another, it's our pleasure to present you and your family with a gift membership to the theater so you can come see us and spend some time in another institution that makes Tampa great.
Thank you so much.
Good morning again, Council. Jeff Houck with the 1905 Family of Restaurants. I'm inspired by the Bible passage. I'm sorry, what did I mess up?
No, me.
Oh, okay. I thought I missed a button here. Man, she was schooling me. I'm inspired by the Bible passage. Proverbs 46 says, God is within her, she will not fail.
Yes.
Praise be. And you've inspired me this morning. You've inspired so many people. I want to thank you on behalf of the Godsmart family, 4th and 5th generations. Small token of our thanks for all you've done for the service of our community. And I'll keep everything buttoned. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
That's a hard act to follow. Good morning, I'm Mary Lou Bailey. I'm here on behalf of Zoo Tampa's board.
And I'm Mark Haney.
Hello.
We just wanted to thank you for your years and years of service and for being a role model. And you probably outworked all the men there. I mean, let's just be honest. I'm sorry, guys. But I'm really inspired by your story, and I thank your family. And as a means of saying thank you, we're presenting you with an annual membership to the zoo for you and your family to go. And Mark is also going to explain why he chose the fox.
Well, first I want to say, if they make a movie about you, I will be the first to buy tickets. And I think Angela Bassett should play you.
Oh, that'd be great! Oh my God, that's a good call.
Yeah.
That's a good call.
I think it would be an amazing movie, and it's an amazing story, and I can't even imagine what you went through. And and how many people look up to you. It's amazing. Now, the fox, I couldn't really think of anything to think of the fox with your situation, but we just got 2 foxes for the first time at the zoo, and they're really cute. And so I just thought this would be a chance for us to talk about the foxes. We saved them from a fur farm. And, and so we've got 2 red foxes, and they're amazing. Thank you. Anyway, that's
Thank you again for your service. Congratulations.
Good morning. Good morning. Steve McElhaney, you're still smiling too. We're going to make you smile some more. So, on behalf of Jackson's Bistro on out on Harbor Island, providing you with a gift certificate and enjoy yourself for lunch or dinner. And on behalf of Busch Gardens, we're providing you with 4 complimentary tickets so you can go enjoy yourself at Busch Gardens.
Yes, thank you.
And I know that being the first of anything means there's a target on your back.
Yeah.
So you dodged all those bullets and you've made it through and quite successfully. And I want to congratulate you for your tenure in the service. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, council, family, friends, Betty, Chief, Lewis, thank you. I am Executive Board Member Emeritus Johnny Primus, and on behalf of Local 754 Tampa firefighters, it is with humbleness and honor that we recognize retired Supervisor of Inspections Betty Coleman. Betty wasn't just a trailblazer, she was a real deal. Outstanding in her service as a firefighter, fire inspector, fire investigator, inspection supervisor, and leader, who spent the majority of her fire service career in the Fire Prevention Division, where she quietly laid the foundation for shaping the division into what it is today. Excuse my emotions here. Her efforts, coupled with her skills and ability, were instrumental in aiding the division to transition from antiquated handwritten inspection reports and associated paperwork to the modern technical computerized inspection systems that are currently in place today. As inspection supervisor, Betty set the standard by commanding professionalism, fairness, and accountability, which she returned threefold back to all those she encountered. For those who worked for her, we're better for it. Betty was a proud card-carrying union member, and her union values ran blood deep. She demonstrated every day that once leadership is earned, it's protected and respected. For her, it wasn't just about breaking barriers, but about creating opportunities and building those paths forward. From all of us at Local 754, we thank you for your service, your leadership, and your legacy. You didn't just make history, you made a difference. This is current Fire Inspection Supervisor William Mann, filling the position that Betty left. So we appreciate you, Lewis. Thank you again, Betty.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Right here. And it's funny, Johnny mentioned something that Betty was a union member, and I forgot you told me that your father was a longshoreman and a union member as well. So there you go. So so on behalf, a couple of things, if I may. I got this picture that Megan sent me, and I made it into kind of enlarged it here. So this is for y'all a picture of Betty when she was very young. What year was this?
81.
Oh, your first year. So this is her first year.
Can you put it on the wolf?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. There you go. Never done this before.
Upside down.
Oh, there you go. No wonder everybody does it like that. There we go. There it is. So there you go.
Wow.
And yeah. 1981. Who are you know these two guys? Who they are?
Albert Diaz
Yeah.
and Melvin Stone.
Oh, what do you know? Okay. So, 45 years ago. And so here, ma'am, on behalf of a very grateful city of Tampa for what was a heck of an emotional presentation for everybody from Chief Tripp and just everybody just talking about the heart about how much you mean. Like I said, when we met, you're very humble, but it is a big deal. It is a big deal. So here you go.
Thank
God
you
bless
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Whoa, I appreciate that. I thought I was just gonna come up here, get the plaque and just leave. Oh, wow. Okay, good morning. I'd like to thank you all so very much for what you did to recognize me, and I didn't know I was gonna cry. I'm so sorry. This is very, very nice. I do appreciate this. First, now I need to see my speech. First, I'd like to thank the City of Tampa for the opportunity and permission they gave me to serve our city and our great community for so many years. I thank the Tampa Fire Rescue for the chance they took when they hired me, because there was other women on the list too, so they didn't have to get me, but they did. And I thank them so much for that. I was glad they chose me to represent the department, and they gave me an opportunity to showcase my skills. I am also glad that I was able to help pave the way for so many other women to come on the department. Starting any new job always come with some bumps in the road. I went from working as a personnel clerk at the City Water Department. I was wearing a dress, stockings, and heels to become a firefighter wearing a helmet, bunker pants, and boots. That was a change. Not to mention learning so many new things, starting from medical and fire codes, languages that I never heard, but by the grace of God, each day got better. Working at Tampa Fire Rescue was an exciting job. It allowed me to work with some of the most talented, unique, and fine people. No, it wasn't always flowery, so I want you to think that. For some, we had our moments, but we got through them, and that was wonderful. I gained so many new friends. I'm so sorry. I gained so many new friends that I cherish them even to this day. It was an exciting and rewarding career, and if I had to do it over again, I would. I thank my family and friends for all of their love, support, and encouragement they gave me throughout those many years, and they still do even today. I'd like to leave a message for our young people. I wish every one of you who can pursue the Tampa Fire Rescue as a career. You will find that there are many doors of opportunities to travel through. You will also have a chance to pour back into your community to make a positive impact on others. You will bring new friends and new mentors into your life while achieving a wonderful and rewarding career path for yourself. Again, I am now happily retired. I'm enjoying my grandchildren and my family, and I'm not bothering anyone. Again, thank you so very much.
Thank you. You know, Betty, being number one comes with a lot of responsibility. You might be retired, but I guarantee you, you're not tired. No. You've set a blazing trail, and I don't know how many females are in the fire department now. Maybe somebody here could tell me during this session. But you've set a standard that, how many females do we have?
53.
53? Look at the blazing trail you left, the path that you've given others that was much easier to get on now than when you had to fight inch by inch to get to where you were at. It wasn't easy to do what you did back then. It wasn't easy today. But because of your effort to say, I want compassion, I want understanding, I want the city of Tampa to be better, that's what I want to do to help the society. And you succeeded in everything you've done. So today's day is not to be forgotten. It's to be remembered. on what you accomplished to give others a chance to do what they want to do. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Councilman Maniscalco.
Thank you very much. This is our first meeting back for 2026, and what a wonderful way to start the day. How inspirational. We had the police officer of the month, and now we have you, and we haven't even gotten to the clerk's office yet. So there is more to come.
All about the women today.
It's all about the women, but it's days like this that remind me why I love coming here, because of you and the you know, as Councilman Miranda has mentioned, the path, you're a trailblazer, you're a pioneer, your history, you are what makes Tampa great. People like you, and as the fire chief mentioned, 53 women officers, officers, firefighters. You were the first, and it's going to continue. And you've inspired even more people today by being here. Just your presence, people watching at home, people in the audience. Your work is not done. You're retired, but your story continues. So thank you. It's an honor. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep.
Councilman Carlson.
Yeah, thank you for it. As he just said, it's an honor to have you here. It's an honor to hear you. I hope there will be other forums where we can hear you tell more of your story. Also, I realize the significance also of having Chief Tripp here in the room, and the significance of the trail that she's blazed as well. And I hope that individually or together, you all are being recorded somewhere on video or some format so we can keep this history going. And if nobody's asked you to do it, call me and I'll figure out how to get it done. Thank you so much.
Okay, Councilwoman Young.
Well, I just want to say an amazing story. As a woman, also as a black woman, you're very inspiring. And I just appreciate you for continuing, because it is a lot of responsibility to be the first. But you continue, and I'm always very inspired by women like yourself who were the first and continue, because you paved the way for a lot of us, including me. So thank you.
And again, Councilman Clendenin, would you like to say something?
No, I just echo everybody else's on this, and especially Councilwoman Young. Thank you for what you've done for the city of Tampa and moving the path, clearing the path for so many others.
And I also just want to echo everyone, especially as a woman, it really matters to have this representation. Thank you so much, Councilman Vieira, for bringing this forward. It's just, I mean, what you talked about, just being 13 years away from Jim Crow. I mean, it's so important for us to remember that, to remember the women who came before us, especially, and that we continue to stand on your shoulders, and importantly as well, that we continue to bring women along, to build ladders so that they can stand on our shoulders and get taller and better and stronger. And we're just so grateful for everything you did, and really happy that we can give you your flowers here while you're here. And that's even more important. I think everybody needs to know how much they mean to a community while they're still here, and we're just so appreciative. Thank you so much again for the community that came out today, and we wish you continued happiness in retirement. But thank you so much for coming today and sharing a little bit more about your journey. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, next, I believe we have, we'll give a moment for everyone to exit. Yes.
I'll drop it off. Just don't drop it off.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you all so much. Councilman Maniscalco, I believe you have the introduction for this today.
All right. I'd like to introduce at this time Sharon Lother from the City of Haines City, who serves as the city clerk. She will be making the pin presentation to our wonderful Shirley Fox Knowles and our amazing Sue Ling Harris on achieving Master Municipal Clerk, which is a significant accomplishment. Yes, ma'am, take it away.
Good morning, Mayor, members of the City Council, city staff, attendees. I am so humbled to be here. This is fabulous, and this is like Woman Day.
Can you just state your name for the record, please?
As he said, my name is Sharon Lother, and I'm the city clerk for the City of Haines City in Polk County and the Florida Association of City Clerks Central West District Director. It is with great pleasure that I appear here this morning to congratulate your city on the recent accomplishment of your city clerk, Shirley Fox Knowles, and your deputy city clerk, Sue Ling Lucas Harris, upon receiving their Master Municipal Clerk designation. I would like to give you just a little bit of history. Shirley Fox Knowles was appointed by Mayor Pam Iorio on May 12, 2003, and she was the 28th clerk of the City of Tampa. She is only the third female to hold this position. Prior to her appointment, she also served as chair to the Code Enforcement Board for the City of Tampa. Shirley is the longest-serving city clerk in the City of Tampa's history. Before her 22 years with the City of Tampa, she was the development director for Tampa Hillsborough Urban League. And for the previous 16 years, she was a supervising accountant, auditor, budget analyst, as well as corporate and tax accountant for GTE of Florida. She currently serves as a volunteer member and advisor to the City of Tampa Black History Committee. She also served as board member and advisor for 13 years for the Salvation Army. She has also volunteered with the Big Brothers and Big Sisters, Hillsborough County Historical Advisory Council, National Forum for Black Public Administration, Tampa Organization of Black Affairs, and National Association of Accountants and NABA Association of Black Accountants. Chairing the 2006 Annual Convention for all Florida City Clerks, she was highly recognized for her event planning and red carpet treatment for all those attended. She has also volunteered and been awarded the Josephine Howard Stafford Memorial Award in 2025, National Forum for Black Public Administration, Tampa Bay Area Chapter 2012 Award, the Buffalo Soldiers Wood and Wanton Chapter, Inc., the Dr. William H. Leckie Community Service Award in 2015. In recognition of outstanding contributions, dedication, and accomplishments that enrich the lives of many in our community. Where she gets time to be the city clerk of Tampa, I don't know, but this is impressive. We're also honoring your deputy city clerk, and I want to read her bio as well. Sue Ling Lucas Harris began her municipal government career with the City of Tampa as a temporary employee in June 2003, and she became a permanent employee of the city clerk's office on October 12, 2004. Since that time, she has gained comprehensive experience across nearly every function within the city clerk's office. Her service includes roles as a front desk clerk, agenda management clerk, code enforcement clerk, senior city council city clerk support specialist, where she managed the city council office and assisted with daily legislative and operational functions. Through these positions, she developed extensive knowledge of municipal procedures, agenda preparation, records management, and quasi-judicial processes. Near the end of 2016, Sue Ling was appointed interim deputy city clerk and permanently assumed the role in November 2017. She continues to serve as the deputy city clerk, providing leadership and oversight for city council operations, code enforcement special magistrate operations, and clerk office staff, while ensuring accuracy, transparency, and compliance with statutory requirements. Suling is an active member of the Florida Association of City Clerks, as well as the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. She became a member of both organizations in 2016 and earned her Master Municipal Clerk designation, reflecting her dedication to professional excellence, ethical public service, and lifelong learning. She's honored to serve the residents of Tampa and remains committed to advancing the municipal clerk position. So some people say, what is a clerk? What is a city clerk? Let me tell you a little bit about our organization. The International Institute of Municipal Clerks, known as IIMC, and its partner with the Florida Association of City Clerks, are professional associations that promote continuing education and certification through university and college-based institutes. The IIMC's primary goal is to actively promote the continuing education and professional development of municipal clerks through extensive education programs, certification, publications, networking across the globe, annual conferences, and research. The Florida Association of City Clerks' primary goal is to actively promote the continuing education and professional development of municipal clerks in the state of Florida by partnering with the Florida League of Cities and the Florida Institute of Government to meet the ever-changing educational needs of the city and town clerks and to improve their knowledge in areas such as public administration, law, management, elections, and many other disciplines. The Master Municipal Clerk Academy was established to further professional education of city clerks and to meet the challenges of the office. Academy members must demonstrate that they have actively engaged in educational and professional participation that keeps them current with the changing events in the local government scene. Academy members seeking to earn the Master Municipal Clerk designation are required to attain 100 hours in advanced education, with 60% of the coursework in public administration and 40% in the professional and social contributions. This is quite a task considering the daily demands of the clerk's office. Currently, 9.6% of the 15,000 members of the International Municipal Clerks have attained their Master Municipal Clerks. The Florida Association of City Clerks has 626 members. 142 members have reached their Master Municipal designation. That tells you exactly just how difficult it is to attain this, and it's very, very special, and we really have to commend our clerks when they do get this designation. Shirley and Suling are now part of an elite group of professionals in local government, a group they could not have become part of without your commitment and the support of their efforts. Your city can take immense pride in Shirley and Suling's educational accomplishments and their commitment to lifelong learning that has enabled them to achieve this milestone. Shirley and Suling display your plaque and wear your pin with pride as an example of dedication and professionalism. On behalf of the Florida Association of City Clerks President, the Board of Directors, its members, and myself, the Central West District Director, congratulations on becoming our newest Master Municipal Clerk.
And then turn this way so they can get it from that side.
Thank you. I'm so nervous. Oh my goodness. And now Suling.
Okay, let's get all three. Let's get all three. No, plaque two. Where's your plaque? Yeah. Okay, looking this way in this corner first. And then turn around for your person who wanted that one. Okay. Okay.
I would just like to say one last thing. I want to thank, I have some past presidents that have come. Shirley Mooney, who's a past president of the Florida Association, and a retired city clerk from Temple Terrace. And Kelly Coos, who's also a past president and the current city clerk for the city of Lakeland. So I thank them for coming and giving me a little support here. Thank you so much for your time. This was wonderful. I have ideas to take back now to mine.
Okay.
Thank
so
you.
let's allow them to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to note that we have Frances and Jeanette Martin, the other two female clerks. Frances was here up until last year. She left us. She was a wonderful guide, and Jeanette was. She was wonderful too. I knew them both.
Excellent, excellent. Would you like to say something?
Oh, yes. Well, aside from having them stand up with us, they were wonderful guides and wonderful people, genuine people. And I know, Charlie, you knew them. I knew both of them, and I'm sure some other people knew them. They were just wonderful. Frances talked to me a number of times. She was all about staff, and she knew. Frances started back in the 50s, and she, again, just passed away last year. But I learned so much. She would just talk to us, talk to staff. She was always showing up, and I loved it. And another person I would like to note, and I would tell anybody this, Mr. Bowden used to always say, give it your best. Give it your best. You say, how you doing? Oh, I'm giving it my best. So we should all give it our best. I took it to heart to give it our best. But anyway, I will be quiet now.
Miss Lucas Harris, would you like to say anything?
Okay, so I actually wrote a speech, so good morning, everyone.
Okay.
I'm not good at like freeze talking, so I wrote everything down. So as one of your meeting clerks, I know better than anyone that no one wants or should want to extend a meeting unnecessary. So I promise I'll be brief. Now that I made that commitment on the record, I am truly honored to be penned and recognized today as the Master Municipal Clerk. This moment is both humbling and deeply meaningful because it represents not just an achievement, but a journey, one rooted in service, commitment, and a deep respect for local government. The MMC designation is not something earned overnight, as you heard. It reflects years of dedication, continued education, professional growth, and an unwavering commitment to excellence in municipal service. It represents a responsibility to uphold transparency, integrity, and the democratic process, often behind the scenes, but always at the heart of government. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the International Institute of Municipal Clerks, the Florida Association of City Clerks, City Council, past and present, the administration, city staff across all departments that I have the privilege of working with, and the mentors and colleagues current and present, and you know who you are, who guided, challenged, and encouraged me along the way. I said I wasn't gonna cry. Your leadership, support, and shared knowledge made the milestone possible. I also want to give a very special thank you to the city clerk staff. Your professionalism, dedication, and teamwork, and commitment to public service do not go unnoticed. The work we do is so demanding, detailed, and often unseen, but it is essential to the functioning of local government. I am grateful to work alongside such a capable and committed team. And I thank you for your support, collaboration, and trust. I would also like to acknowledge my children who have been my silent motivation throughout my career, even when they may not have fully understood. They have been the reason I kept going, pushed forward, and continue to grow. They're not here today because they're at work helping to pay the household bills. So I don't have to. I also want to give a quick shout out to my brother, my sister all the way in Cali, I know she's watching, family and friends who have supported me in ways both big and small, checking in, encouraging me, listening when I needed it, and celebrating the wins along the way. Your presence in my life means more than you all know. And to my husband in particular, who truly deserves his own pen, for listening, supporting, and dealing with me throughout this journey. Thank you for being my constant source of strength, humor, and balance. I would also like to give a shout out to any of my sorors who may be present today. Your sisterhood, encouragement, and commitment to service and leadership continue to inspire me, and I am grateful to be grounded in a legacy that reminds me daily to do the work, serve with purpose, and lead with integrity. Lastly, I give thanks to God for his guidance, grace, and provision throughout this journey. And thank you for this honor and the opportunity to continue serving our community with integrity and dedication. Thank you, and I hope I was brief, and if not, council is used to it.
We have some flowers. Wonderful, thank you. So we'll Councilman Carlson.
Make me go first. I want to congratulate both of you. You're both rock stars, and I'm so thankful, and the community should be so thankful that such brilliant people as the two of you, hardworking, brilliant people, are dedicated to public service and dedicated to our city, because you all help keep things moving. What the position you're in has a lot of regulation, risk, and I've never heard a single complaint about your department, and so I appreciate that. Also, I should note that you all have gone through COVID, which was incredibly difficult, and you worked with us on that. You also worked through a major enterprise software change to OnBase, which was, I know, very difficult, but almost didn't skip a beat at all. I've never seen one go so smoothly as that. So thank you to the IT people, but also you all for helping make sure the documents are there. And Shirley, it's great to see you be on the side of receiving. You can see you're uncomfortable because usually you're the one announcing other people and congratulating other people. And Sue Ling, the city council couldn't run without you. I know you're the front end of a whole bunch of people, but the work that you put in and the care and dedication, the fact that you respond all 24/7, and thanks to Mike, besides being a photographer, he takes you, or you take him on great trips around the world. I love watching your vacations, but most importantly, Sue Ling always has a smile on her face, and no matter how many hours she's been sitting here or wherever, she always comes in with a smile, and we may be completely exhausted, but she's always got energy and smile, and that's because she has support at home, and also she's taking you on great trips. So thank you all for everything you do.
Okay, Councilman Maniscalco.
Congratulations. We have an amazing clerk's office, number one. Thanks to everybody. And yes, Sue Ling is my favorite. But Ms. Fox Knowles, when I was appointed to serve on my first city board back 2012, you swore me in, so you were there at the beginning. And Sue Ling was here when I first got elected. So you've been there, and we've laughed, and I think I've made you laugh. With my terrible jokes. But I appreciate both of you because, as was mentioned, you're always smiling. It's always good to see you. It's always good to come to work because you're here. And I'm glad that, Mr. Harris is here. When we first saw him, I said, I know you, and I don't know you because of social media and whatnot. Like, I go, here he is, here's the guy. But thank you for all the support that you show at home. these two wonderful women are so important to us. And this is just a little token of our appreciation, because what you do touches beyond city council meetings and impacts so many people. So thank you to you, your leadership, and your entire team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilman Miranda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, as I look back at both of you, Suling and Shirley, I think of how this department started. And I'm going back when I was a young kid, about 12 or 13 years old. I played ball with a guy named Stark. And his father, I think, was city clerk way back. You got to check it out in the 50s, early 60s. This used to be an elected position at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Francis was the last one elected under that system, if I recall history.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm going from memory. And I had the pleasure of working with Francis Enriquez and Jeanette Barton. Wonderful, wonderful people like you guys are. You wonderful. And I ask Suling sometimes here when she laughs when I tell her like this, how in the hell can you write all this stuff down when all of us are talking at the same time? And she does it. Now, I'm sure she doesn't fib because it's accurate. I've read them. So I don't know how she does it, but congratulations to you and your staff. The other ones, I tell the same thing. I ask, how can you take this from us, what we talk and murmur, and you write it down, it comes out perfect. So it's so appreciative of the record that y'all keep and keep the history going forward of the city of Tampa. Congratulations on the award as master, and you all deserve it dearly. Thank you very much for being who you are.
Yes, Councilwoman Young.
Well, this is definitely a well-deserved honor. As being someone who is, still fairly new, any questions that I had, even down to the simplest question, you both, answered with a smile. And I'll say, I'm sorry, I just have, she's like, no, it's okay. And even down to, this is how it's going to go. It's going to go like this. And both of you were just so helpful. And you really, really have such an important job. And I'm just really appreciative to have the both of you. And not too long ago, Ms. Shirley Fox knows we were right here in the front, and you swore me in. And that was an awesome moment. So I'm really excited to continue to work with you all. And thank you so much for what you all do for the city.
Thank you.
And Councilman Vieira.
Thank you, ma'am. Congratulations to you all and everybody at the clerk's office. A lot of good people there. I remember when I served on the, the Civil Service Review Board. Jim Crew was always with us, and Jim was funny, just the way he is and so forth. But and both of you all, just such a pleasure to work with you all. Suling, we have some long nights. You know what I mean? Sometimes your service is West Germany, sometimes it's Vietnam, and here it goes Vietnam sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And it's funny. You always do a great job, and you're such a good person, and a real pleasure here to see your husband and everything like that, and that's just marvelous. And Shirley, you're such a just tremendous person, and I mean it. The role that you play in your part here in Tampa means a lot to a lot of institutions and people here in Tampa, a lot of people that have pride in you and your accomplishment and work and your integrity. And I've met your husband before, who I know is a military veteran, always wears, I believe it is, his airborne hat and the license plate. And we've talked about our families and just the love that you bring to every part of your life, your vocation, your personal life, your family life, everything like that. It always comes from the same place. So just God bless both of y'all.
Thank you.
And Councilman Clendenin.
I thank you, Council Pro Tem Hurtak. You want to echo what everyone else has said, and especially I think Councilman Maniscalco said about the smiles. Both Shirley and Suling, every time I see you, you've got big smiles on your face. You just bring joy and happiness to City Hall, and the serious business that we do. That's always heartwarming, and I just love that about you. You're two of my favorite people. You are the glue that binds the city business together, and the continuity between councils and business that we do. As being chair, working closely with you all, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate what you all do for me, for City Council, and for the City of Tampa. We're very well served by both of you. You're two great individuals. I wish we could clone you and make 100 of you. But thank you so much, and congratulations.
And I want to echo all of this. Ms. Fox-Knowles, you have been with me from my very first journey when I remember being sworn in by you for the Charter Review Commission. Way back to start in public service. And so I'm always grateful for your calm demeanor and just the way you just make everyone feel like everything's going to be okay. And obviously you carry that through your work because, I mean, you all do honestly, record keeping is one of the hardest jobs, and we never hear about it. That's how good you are. It's seamless. And then Ms. Lucas Harris, when I joined council, it was so overwhelming, and you really helped me become more confident in who I was, and you were always there to answer, like Councilwoman Young said, any question, anything. And but again, making everything move smoothly, making sure everything's working, and we now have a whole succession of people that we've watched you train, and that is so important. And so it's really, we miss seeing you all the time, but also it's really great that we're creating this stable of people who can come behind you all, and that's the greatness of your office and what you all do. I know you have a wonderful staff who really support you, and you're just helping build the next generation. And I just want to say how important that is and how much we thank you. And again, just going on the theme for the day, how important it is to see women in these positions, especially women of color, very important to us as a community. And just so everyone here today, women watching, young girls watching, young boys watching, just seeing how wonderful and diverse our community is, and how we really just believe in helping people get even further. So I'm really, congratulations for the hard work you put in, and I know we'll have more people behind you doing this same work and getting these recognitions and earning this very important award. So thank you so much. We're thrilled to have you. One more round of applause. And
Thank you very much.
And we'll give just a moment so they can exit. Okay.
We take a 5 minutes.
No, you got your, okay. Okay, apparently we're going to do a 5-minute recess. We'll be back at 10:40 and not a second later.
Muted. Unmuted.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Welcome back, everyone, to Tampa City Council. Roll call.
Miranda. Maniscalco. Young.
Here.
Vieira. Carlson. Clendenin.
Here.
Hertag.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Excellent. It is now time for public comment. So if you have not already filled out your form, please do so now. As is customary, we're going to start with people who mentioned what they're here for that is on the agenda today. So first, we have Tina Adams, then we will have Greg Campbell and Daryl Height.
Sorry, you were a little fast for me there.
No, that's okay. It's the beginning.
Good morning. My name is Tina Adams, and my home in Parkland Estates flooded last year, along with over 300 homes and businesses. Thankfully, we are back in our home, but we still are working on repairs over a year later. The South Howard Flood Project has been researched and designed by experts, engineers, construction companies with many, many years of experience in this area. I trust them. I believe them when they say they can fix this problem, or at least alleviate the flooding we have from everyday storms. Climate change is happening, and the storms and flooding is only getting worse. My family and I have supported the businesses on Howard for many years. Now is their turn to support the families and neighborhoods have supported them. We have gone to Bella's back when they had brown paper on the tables and they gave kids pizza dough. I'm sure it's a choking hazard now. They don't give it anymore. I'm confused by some of the statements by some of the businesses and their representatives. They say business is great, but if that's true, why is Haven, Burn's sister restaurant, applying for a demolition permit and a totally new concept? Additionally, why is the owner applying for an environmental resource exemption permit from the Water Management District when they know there's a flooding problem? Why aren't they supporting their neighbors? We supported them. In closing, I would like to ask you, what will be your legacy? Will it be standing up for families and homes, doing the right things by neighborhoods, improving infrastructure, or will it be letting over $10 million go away in grant funding, just slip away and doing nothing? A lot of people are counting on you and watching you. Please do the right thing, accept the grant money, and help us feel safe in our homes again.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Greg Campbell, followed by Daryl Heitch and David Deloche.
My name is Greg Campbell. My wife and I live in Parkland Estates on a site my parents bought in 1953, 72 years ago. Across those years, we've seen a lot of high water in the area and around our house and all through the neighborhood and indeed around the city. We've gone through countless summer thunderstorms and a good many hurricanes. The city has taken steps across the years to improve things for all of us, and those steps were successful to a degree. But by far, the best project to emerge in 70 years is the South Howard Flood Relief Project. It goes further and does more than anything that has ever been done before. You heard opposition, and I spoke in opposition to that project 1 year ago, as far as box culverts going through neighborhood streets are concerned. But that idea has been abandoned, thankfully, by Kimmons and the Mobility Department, and the Swan to Howard route is the obviously correct route for the box culverts. Because of that, those of us who were elected to the board of the Parkland Estates Civic Club in opposition to the South Howard project putting box culverts through neighborhood streets, the very same people are now unanimously in favor of the South Howard Flood Relief Project. And that's because of the Swan Avenue route. I am a member of the board of the Parkland State Civic Club. I'm not the president and not empowered to speak for the board. But the board has public meetings and its minutes are public, and you can see in those minutes the board has voted 8-0 in favor of the South Howard project. Okay. It does cost money, really, obviously, but in the context of an almost $2 billion budget, annual budget for the city of Tampa, and in the context of a project lasting at least 3 or 4 years, maybe more, the city of Tampa in that time will spend a good $10 billion. And within that amount, if we really do favor flood relief, we can find the necessary funds for what started as a $57 million project. So money is not a big problem with good management if we are indeed committed to flood relief. And because we live in an estuary, flood relief is important not just to our neighborhood, but to neighborhoods across the entire city.
Thank you very much. Daryl Heisch, after that, Dave Deloche, and then Steve Michelini.
Good morning, City Council, Daryl Height.
Good morning.
The other day, someone told me I was an agitator, and then someone else told me this week, if I don't have, they asked me to say something good, and I said, good evening. Agitators are used in laundry and in the washing machine to clean up the dirt, to clean up soil that's inside the washing machine. Item number 56, Ms. Osea Wynn is going to provide a list of city venues, restaurants, caterers, and various things that the city can use. I have a list of restaurants that we've reached out to, and none of these restaurants have had the privilege of being on this list, or at least had the privilege of speaking with Osea Wynn. Venue 2106, Madison 2.0, Table 22, Coasis, Mr. B's, 7th and Grove, Mangoes, Sol de Cuba, Dunn's River. This is just a few names of restaurants that may or may not be on that list because they haven't been contacted to be on this list. That brings me back to resolution number 568. This week, on 2 occasions, the city stood before black and minority leaders and business owners and lied to them. A city leader told us on Monday that we can go to the city website, log on, and get MBE, WMBE certifications. And then they told us to click on the welcome letter, and the welcome letter would give us information on how to get certified. So I clicked on that website, and the website said, we can no longer do this based upon the executive order given back in January. And then she tried to explain her case by sounding, for the most part, like Charlie Brown. Womp, 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 womp. Because what she was saying wasn't true. And then we led over to Tuesday, I attended the CAC meeting. And the question was asked at the CAC meeting, does anyone have any experience with extending the CRAs for different areas? And the new manager was there. The new manager and Mr. McCray both sat there in silence, said they have no experience and don't have any knowledge on how to move forward with an extension. The new manager been in Pinellas County for 13 years, and lo and behold, Safety Harbor just did an extension. How do you not know this? You get paid to come and give us the information. On the city's website right now today, they have a link on there for the LGBTQ to get certified as that. What's the difference in that gender certification than it is with you removing the Racial Reconciliation Committee? Same difference. There has to be something else going on for them to allow that to stay there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. David Deloche, followed by Steve Michelini and Edward De La Part. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dave Deloach. I'm a professional engineer and the principal with Deloach Engineering Science. Speaking today on behalf of the South Howard business community in my role as a technical consultant. To be clear, I'm certainly not here to oppose flood mitigation or seeking state funding to perform mitigation. Flooding in South Tampa is real and it needs to be addressed. My comments are narrowly focused on the FDEP Resiliency Grant Agreement that's before you and whether the current project record is technically sufficient to meet the city's obligations under that agreement. You're aware, the grant doesn't simply provide funding, it requires the city to demonstrate technical sufficiency. It also requires completion and approval of required deliverables, such as the sea level impact projection or SLIP study, consistency with resilience objectives, and achievement of defined performance standards. The measurement also makes clear that permits are not guaranteed and that unanticipated compliance issues cannot be resolved using grant funds. Based on our preliminary technical assessment of the project, we've identified 3 areas where the record doesn't demonstrate compliance with grant requirements. The first of these is in the alternatives analysis. The city previously rejected multiple technically viable alternatives advanced by its own consultants as being too costly or too disruptive. Today, the city is advancing a solution that is far more expensive and far more disruptive than those rejected alternatives without reevaluating them under current cost and risk assumptions. The state is not funding a concept in isolation. It considers the decision process. If alternatives were eliminated using criteria that the city no longer applies consistently, then the record doesn't support that the selected project is the most reasonable use of the grant funds. Second, under tidal and sea level resilience, the current plan relies on a large gravity conveyance to tidal water, yet the record doesn't demonstrate how king tides, storm surge, or future elevation changes in the bay will be prevented from propagating inland. A SLIP study has not been prepared to close the gap, and pump-assisted or controlled alternatives are no longer being reconsidered. And third, performance and economic impact. The project's benefit cost framework counts avoided flood damages, but not foreseeable economic harm. If these deficiencies persist, the ramifications are straightforward. A prudent step today would be just to delay the approval until staff provides a side-by-side comparison of a previously rejected alternatives and the current plan using common cost, risk, and constructability assumptions, including the degree to which each alternative meets tidal resilience requirements, expanding the benefit cost analysis to include impacts of each alternative.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stephen Michelini, followed by Edward De La Parte and David Laxer.
Good morning, Council. Steve Michelini, representing the Soho Business Alliance. This proposal that's being presented to you is not ready. It is based on information that is lacking. It's required. This started off as a small-scale project that was supposed to identify and solve summer storm issues. Yet, the proposal that we have before you calls out a 100-year storm design. You haven't seen that design. It's not ready. They haven't even finished 30% of the design criteria. They've eliminated reasonable alternatives without any discussion and without it being brought forward to you. Maintenance is a key issue here, and it should become the priority. Funding. They're asking you to commit, and these are in their documents, $54.9 million in matching funds from the city. You've been told twice by the CFO the city doesn't have that. But where's that money going to come from? You're being faced with, and I think that the CFO told you, they're going to have to raise taxes or you're going to have to increase the stormwater fee or both. The design criteria that's required for the grant has not been met. The small-scale project has grown. In the narrative, it calls for 6,000 linear feet of box culverts. It never shows you where. It says a 259-acre area with 7 neighborhoods being affected. There's no discussion whatsoever regarding where this is going to come from, what that design criteria is for. It says, and I've already, driven up and down South Howard, it says that there's no stormwater system at all on South Howard. Simply inaccurate, not true. But they have it in there, and they said that that's one of the criteria they're using for this grant. They need to identify the scope and the plan for this project, and it's just simply not there. This is a very competitive grant application that other cities and other communities are dying for that money, and they have plans and they're ready to go. The city of Tampa doesn't have it. They have failed in every respect. I can count off at least 4 or 5 additional issues that are contained in their grant application that they simply haven't met. In talking with city staff, they told me that this was never designed for a large-scale development of any kind for stormwater. Wasn't designed for that. So the backup materials that they have in there simply don't match what they're asking for. Alternatives that were proposed were never fully examined or produced. We've asked them for additional information. There are pumps and pump stations that were proposed in there, including a pump station in Parkland Estates that was routinely just removed from their consideration. There are reasonable alternatives. They should be examined, and this should not be going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Edward De La Parte, and I apologize for not being able to read the end of that, followed by David Laxer and Victor DeMaio.
Thank you very much. My name is Edward De La Parte. I'm an attorney representing the Soho Business Alliance. I'm here to speak to you about the proposed grant amendment. I know that some of you have been told that this is simply just extending the expiration date of the grant from June 2026 to June 2027, but that's not the case. This is a complete rewrite of the grant that was signed by the city in 2024. If you look at it, every attachment that's attached to that grant is completely rewritten, and it's completely a different attachment. You should at the very least been provided with a red line showing what those differences were between those attachments. They've also added new exhibits that didn't exist before. The grant itself contains requirements that simply are ones that you cannot comply with. Our attachment 1A has a provision, paragraph 44, that says that you, the city council, the city, represent that the information provided to DP are current, complete, and accurate, and that all statements and information in the grant, as well as the attachment and exhibits, are correct. That's not true. This grant agreement says that this project will be completed in June 2027. But yet, on your website, it says it won't be completed until 2029. How do you reconcile those two statements? This grant agreement says that this project is intended to deal with the 100-year floodplain. But on your website, for frequently asked questions, it says, no, that's not the case. It'll only deal with a 5-year floodplain requirement, which is just intended for normal, everyday wet weather conditions. This grant agreement has a provision that obligates a city to pay 84.5% of the grant amount. Now, some may argue that that's limited to the original 2022 estimate, which is 84% would be about 54.9 million gallons a day, but it isn't clear to me that's the case. What happens if this grant, what happens if the cost of the project inflates to 100 million and you accept this grant, take money from this grant? Are you then committed to pay 84% of that dollar amount? Finally, the city has been reluctant to do an economic impact analysis. You're going to need an Army Corps of Engineer permit for the discharge point. That's a major federal action, which under the National Environmental Protection Agency Act, or NEPA, requires that you look at impact on local businesses. Why sign this grant when you don't have all your ducks in a row? You should take this opportunity to relook at this situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. David Laxer, followed by Victor DeMaio and Stephanie Pointer.
I'm not David Laxer, but he had to leave, so I'm
Oh,
going to go
okay,
ahead.
so no
just-
David Laxer. On to Victor DeMaio. Okay.
Yes, I am Victor DeMaio, 1205 North Franklin Street, and I do represent some of the businesses in South Howard. I'm here today to piggyback the fact that when I was here last, I did mention to the council that we did retain Ed Delapardo, who has 40 years of experience in stormwater legal litigation, and David Deloach, who's an engineer, stormwater engineer from Orlando. And one of the things that was just mentioned, Mr. Deloach is spearheading. We currently have an 80-page economic impact statement. It's not finished yet, but we're still working on it. And it states that the damages that we've estimated so far to all the businesses up and down Howard Avenue is about $35 million. Now, the business may survive, but what are you going to do with those thousands of jobs? These are men and women who work for a living. Restaurant work is tough. You work at nights. Who's going to take care? Are you guys going to pay the salaries of these people for the next 4 years where they're laid off? Who's going to pay? Who's going to support the kids, the families, the mortgages of all these people for 4 years? And when you shut down Howard to put in that culvert that goes from curb to curb, which is in a little pipe, and you saw the damages, there were restaurants up in Seminole Heights when that happened that literally went out of business. That's exactly what you're doing here today if you pass this particular thing that's on the council. So just to reiterate what the other two gentlemen have said, there are major, major flaws with what's going on right now that have to be corrected. I would urge you guys to delay this till you get answers, like where the $54 million is coming from. You know, these are called mail pieces. All y'all, look, the mayor's going to lay an egg on this deal, and you guys are going to have to live with it. Everyone here is going to be running for re-election. You're going to have to answer for why I approved $44 million that we don't have. Why I submitted a statement to the federal government who's going to have to approve this, attesting to the fact that everything in there is correct when it's not. I think you guys are on the hook here, and I think you all should take a breath and think about it. And listen, we have, Mr. Deloach has identified alternatives to this pipe to go from Swan to Howard that's upwards to $100 million at estimates that will cost less, and you don't have to do the pipe down Howard. That's the bottom line. And you've heard several people, we're going to reiterate, you don't have to do the pipe down Howard because we do have alternatives which we can suggest that the city will not listen to us because we begged them to try and they won't listen because they've got it, that this is the only answer, but there are alternatives to doing this project, to collect the water. And as you know, as that water shoots down Howard from Swan to Bayshore and it's high tide and there's nowhere for the water to go, that water's going to go back up on Howard.
Stephanie Pointer, followed by Jared Dyer and Connie Burton.
Good morning, Stephanie Pointer. Number 25, the Ethics Committee report. I would like that it be removed, that it's submitted for approval as it was when they wrote that document, because we all know that unpaid citizens are not lobbyists. Number 45, Julian B. Lane, fixing docks that were damaged by others. You know what? That's an insurance issue, not a Stephanie Pointer and everybody else in here who pays taxes issue. That is a personal problem. And Julian B. Lane brings in their own funding, so get out of the small parks fund. As for Gadsden Park, the ADA bathrooms have been begged for by Little League. Bill Carlson and I met with them probably 3 years ago about those bathrooms. We still need them. But Ballast Point Park, they're still haven't fixed the pier. Now, we got $2 million from Thea to fix A.J. Bologna's park at the end of Gandy. We got $650,000 for them using the right-of-way on Prescott. Now, that is South Tampa money. Where is it? Let's use it on South Tampa parks. And people say South Tampa gets everything. What a joke. Number 32, where are the maps of the area? And the thing about it is the same contractor did the McDill 48 that's doing this project. We need to have the data from that contractor that says, how long was Himes closed? Himes was closed forever. Well over a year, I would guess. But they have the data. Show it to you. Because they're telling you it's only going to be closed a week or two at a time, which is bull, in my opinion. And we just had an expert up here who I asked to email you his documentation that backs it up. We don't have $54 million, folks. We don't have $54 million to pay our part. When you sign off on that crap today, Where's the money coming from? I know this, I don't sign paperwork if I don't have the money to buy something. You guys need to take that into consideration. And you know what? If you're spending all of the rest of our stormwater assessment for the next 20 years or whatever it is this the best use of our money? Boca Raton versus Florida. Look it up. I sent you the documents. West Riverwalk. I have a question for you. We went to this meeting the other night. There are not one, but two parts of the West Riverwalk that are supposed to be privately installed. So when we are done spending $50 million on this crap, we're still going to have two parts. And guess what? This same vendor, it's the same guys that have Rome Yard. Just remember, they still haven't finished Rome Yard. It was approved the same time Hannah Street was approved. It was approved the same time that the affordable housing next to Dairy Joy was approved. And they're just now getting started on it. So we're going to trust them. And I've asked for the contracts. I want to see the contract. And it's a bonus agreement contract. So what if they decide they don't want the extra 400 apartments that they've signed up for the bonus agreement for? And last but not least, Stormwater told us this week that they're not required to meet the stormwater assessments.
Okay, thank you very much. Jared Dyer, followed by Connie Burton and Carol Ann Bennett.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Jared Dyer. I'm with Bella's Italian Cafe, the South Howard businesses. I just, I've been before y'all before. I'm kind of frazzled on when I think about this. It seems like every direction I look, there's some different problem. So I'm just going to kind of randomly throw out bullet points, sort of. My initial issue with the plan was not a refusal to acknowledge the need for relief from our neighbors in Parkland Estates and Palmacia Pines. It was because of the devastation to the South Howard businesses. But as I learned more listening to Dave DeLoach, Edward De La Parte, Vic DeMaio, like Steve McLean, all the research and the people they've talked to, I can't figure out how this is still moving forward and we're still talking about it in the form that it is. It doesn't make any sense. The budget keeps increasing. It started at $65 million. Now they're saying $100 to $120 million. The resiliency grant, agenda item 32, requires the city to match funds, $54 million. Where is that going to come from? Are we going to increase taxes on the whole city to pay for this small area of the city? The stormwater assessment was intended, obviously, to support the stormwater system, but it was recently revealed that 75% of those funds are going to salaries. 75% of that assessment, and then we find out that maintenance wasn't done for so many years before the storms of 2024, and the pumps weren't working. Well, maybe if some of that money wasn't going to salaries, maybe if it was done maintenance, how big of a difference would that have made? This project, currently, it would use all of the funds intended for the entire city, stormwater issues, leaving nothing for any of the other neighborhoods like Forest Hills, which also flooded terribly. So this one project in one of the wealthiest areas of the city is going to get all of the resources, and the rest of the city just is kind of left to fend for themselves. That's not right. No economic study's been done, and we've been told that it isn't required, but the impact's going to be devastating, and just because it's not required, it could be required. You could say, for us to move forward, we want an economic study done. You can't bury your heads in the sand and just say, we don't want to know how bad it's going to be. It's going to be bad. As Vic said, $35 million, that's much more than our annual gross is by factor. I'm not even going to tell you how much more that is than we bring in a year in gross. The route's now set as Swan to Howard, so the disruption is going to completely fall on the businesses. The Parkland Estates is now free and clear. I don't know if they pushed for that or how that worked out, if Kim has just decided, but they're clear of that disruption to just getting in and out of their houses, so it's just the businesses. Tina Adams said it's time for businesses to step up and support the neighbors. It isn't a matter of not wanting to support our neighbors. It's a matter of ensuring our 60 employees just at my restaurant still have jobs and our business survives. And after all this, it's only going to help the flooding by reducing 4 inches. I mean, it's just crazy.
Thank you very much. Connie Burton, followed by Carol Ann Bennett, followed by James Adair. And if either Ms. Sharp or Mr. Thomas would come up, I would appreciate it.
Good morning, Connie Burton. I was really moved this morning by the ceremony, and what I saw was Black excellence. Given an opportunity, how well our people can do. I also would like to recall the remembrance of, thinking about the young explorers, of a Martin Lee Anderson. Was a 14-year-old child that was killed in one day of being in the custody of the Bay County Sheriff Department, suffocated to death based on demonstration and a second autopsy. We found out that he didn't die just from sickle cell anemia. But if that 14-year-old had been given an opportunity, we don't know 20 years later what he could have become. Item number 55, the Summer Youth Program. When we ran that program and started advocating for that program, we came here because we understood in East Tampa, our children didn't have many opportunities. What was given to them was that if you was gonna participate in summer job program, you had to pick up trash. Nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong with landscaping. We just said that we wanted more. So what did the city do? They snatched the program, made it citywide, and only 7 children from East Tampa last year had an opportunity of participating. 7. So you can't talk about what our young people are doing if our elders in our community, city staff, leadership do not pave the way. 34, 32, 48, whatever your little small numbers are for this year, it is not enough. You have too many business partners. You give out too much money. You need to have somebody on the front end advocating that children, young people need opportunities. We're not going to go away from that. In your returning citizen, now that it moved out on Hannah, but what do they move with? A resource center. To tell people where to go if they need housing, to tell people where they can go. It's just like a loop to a downhill spiral of nothingism. This mayor gonna be out of here in a couple of months. March 2027, she be gone.
Thank you. Thank you.
But what will your legacy say? All of these programs that you have supported and you say you love, you talk about how the hell we was able to make it over. I'm talking about black folks now. Through all the segregation, all the policies, all the poverty, we can have an opportunity right now, this council, turn the wheel real fast and say that anything that comes to this council that do not show that you're trying to build black excellence, you just BSing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Carol Ann Bennett, followed by James Adair and Robin Lockwood.
Hi, my name is Carol Ann Bennett. I'm a founding member of the Tampa Tree Advocacy Group. Trees are infrastructure, period. They should be funded by the city the same way the roads, the sidewalks, and stormwater is funded. This is the annual tree reports done every 5 years. In 2021, the benefits for trees were $306 million a year. Stormwater alone, almost $5 million a year in 2021. Trees are infrastructure. This is showing the interception of rainwater by trees. This 22-inch caliper plane tree, almost 80% interception. This document that I've got here, this is a report prepared by the city. On page 19, it discusses the comparison of how 667 U.S. communities, what other communities do and how it compares to what Tampa does. We are woefully underfunding our infrastructure. It says here that Tampa is $2.95 million in FY24, and it should be $4.5 million to $9.9 million compared to the other 667 U.S. communities. You should really read this report if you can. Item 48, transfer of money from the Tree Trust Fund to the Water Department. The Water Department did nothing wrong. They did a good thing. They tried to do a good thing. I want other departments to do the same thing. The devil was in the details. They spent 85% of the money on type 3s. The tree fund money exists because of the loss of shade trees. The tree fund money should be used to replace shade trees. please allocate money to the water department from the tree fund for the type 1 and the type 2s, but the rest of it should come from the city because the city needs to be funding the trees. They are infrastructure. And I want to also point out that trees are more important to lower income communities because of the health issues, the energy savings, this giant list I have here, they are more affected. Yet $282,000 of that $334 is coming from the Central Tampa District, which includes some of the lowest income areas of the city. So they're spending a lot of money on type 3 trees that are not going to help their children with asthma, that are not going to help their elderly people with lower energy costs. So please, only pay from the tree trust fund the amount for the type 1s and the type 2s, and in the future, no tree trust fund money except for type 1s and 2s. Thank you.
Thank you very much. James Adair, followed by Robin Lockett and Elizabeth Dinwiddie.
Is that right side up?
Yep.
Perfect. And then we got to do the Zoom. Guys, I'm new to this. Yeah? How's that?
There you go.
Perfect. And we have to have all the AV. Don't start my clock. Ta-da. James Adair, the agent who cares from South of Gandy. Hold tight. Hold tight. Oh my goodness, the scandal.
Okay.
Hey. So a little bit of cleanup on an issue that had come before council in 2025. The question was, what's going on with the Bayshore sidewalks? And why is it that we have a vendor who's giving us the number of panels that need to be done instead of us telling them what needs to be done? Here's a little bit of context. Originally, this email thread got started that said essentially, hey, during 2024, we have a ton of jagged sidewalks, and before Gasparilla starts, we need to go ahead and have these things fixed. So a vendor was contracted to go, or told to go out, they get a panel count, and it was like 147 panels. And they want it done before the parade. Well, this was like a very short time frame to pull this off. It was gonna be very hard. Well, the vendor got excited and started permits. So all of that is like in play and still in the system. And then the rest of the bidding process was coming in. Well, it turns out they couldn't do these panels because it's more than what is allowed by our interlock agreement with Hillsborough County, because that road is a county road. Bayshore is a county road. It's a multimodal county road. So we couldn't do it that way. So after we did more investigation to figure out why, what was going on, I walked the entire Bayshore and I didn't see very many panels that needed to be done at all. I was gonna put like a little quarter in there and take a picture, and if it was wider than a quarter, I only came up with 135 pictures. And then the other day I rewalked it and I realized that there was already grinding that had happened that possibly had not happened when the contracts were originally submitted. Meaning, when they were trying to get the bids, it might have been more jagged than when I walked it. So when I walked it again, I started counting each individual panel that was probably already fixed. And sure enough, it easily was gonna add up to the 140 and change panels. So mystery solved where the 140 came from. The other part that I want to give kudos to the mobility department that got this done was that they found a vendor that will come and grind down to make level to remove the tripping hazard. So kudos to you guys for saving a ton of money. The original bid was over $1 million. However, they were able to do it for only like $10 a foot to have it ground down. So saved us a ton of money. We appreciate it. I think sometimes when these things get going, we need to have some follow-up, and we did, and now we know what a great job mobility did. Thank you, guys. Hey.
So I think it's important that as we ask for accountability, when we find answers, and they're great answers, we need to share those as well. So thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Robin Lockett, followed by Elizabeth Dinwiddie and Tara Bluma.
I didn't start speaking while you start my time. Thank you. Hey, good morning. This is Robin Lockett. Couple things. Item number 59. I understand that I guess later on today you guys are going to be looking for additional money. Please keep the Yellow Jackets in your mindset for this. By the time the building, I understand 1.5 has been reserved, thank you for that, but you know, building cost is going up. I went out to the park yesterday and it's looking great, so thank you again for that. Not included, but thank you for that. But building cost is gonna go up. So I really want to make sure that whatever is outlined for the Yellow Jackets, that when another administration is here, they will follow the same suit. They won't have the opportunity to have amnesia. A couple people came up today, and I found this very interesting. I'd like the fact that item number 56, the motion that Gwen Henderson made around the caterers is continuing, so I appreciate that. I haven't looked this up, but I did inquire with master researcher Stephanie Pointer as to whether the list of the caterers that are going to be approved is out there and being seen. And from my knowledge and her research, she's saying no. Find out why. Why wasn't it? Because again, if the city of Tampa is not reaching out to you and you know about this, for the restaurants that Mr. Heitch identified, reach out to the city of Tampa to make sure you get on this list, because Gwen did go through a lot to make sure that this was equitable for everyone. And of course, again, is there any way in regards to the Youth Summer League program incentives? I mean, if it's finding businesses, I'll help you find businesses. Is it in incentives? How can the community get involved with this to help bring this along? Because every year, Connie is coming up here fussing about this, and I was in a youth program. My sister, that's how my sister became, she was a secretary, but executive person for the chief. So, but it was through a program. So it can be done, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel to do it. You have it. So I'm not sure what the delay is and why it's so difficult. That's not making sense to me. And I think that's all I have. But thank you.
Thank you very much. Elizabeth Dinwiddie, followed by Tara Bluma and Ashley Morrow.
My name is Elizabeth Dinwiddie. I'm also known by my married name of Liz Arcadu. I don't want to be here. I'm so tired. I was in the bathroom crying a minute ago. Let's focus for a second on why you're actually, why I'm here, which is item number 32, which is extending a grant of $10 million to help save properties like mine. This is an extension of a grant that the city already has, the problem has already been identified by the state. The Department of Environmental Protection has been willing to give $10 million to help Tampa and homes like mine. This is an extension of a grant. And why do we need an extension of a grant? Because we haven't used it yet. Get to work, get it done. The only reason that you have to extend the grant is because you won't use the grant. My house flooded in October of 2024. It's January of 2026. You should have used the grant before 2024, and then my house wouldn't have flooded. You're extending a grant. You are asked to hear so much noise in here. It is a tough job, and I do thank you, because even if I don't agree with you, it is a tough job. And also all the lawyers behind me, very difficult jobs. I'm trying to understand the root problem here. And the root problem is fear. The fear that these businesses have of failure during this project. And I would like to identify the community that I am fighting for. My community is not just Pompesia Pines or Hyde Park, where I used to live. My community includes those businesses that are fighting me. I don't want those businesses to fail, and I am considering an idea that I have to help them. I need this city to stop being afraid of the fear that these businesses have, because I don't believe they will fail, and I believe they have been given wrong information. But I'm asking these businesses to meet directly with me. Talk to me. I want to understand you. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. I lose sleep over this. My home flooded. Hundreds of homes flooded. You want an economic analysis of the situation? Each property, over 300 properties flooded. It wasn't even a hit of a direct hurricane. It was a rain event, okay? Over 300 properties flooded at over $1 million per property. Let's talk money. I want to meet with the businesses directly.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you very much.
Just say yes to this item 30.
Thank you very much. Tara Bluma, followed by Ashley Morrow and Mentez Knott.
Good morning, I'm Tara Bluma. I am here to talk about parks and trees. I would like you to support money from the small neighborhood parks going to the Gadsden Park improvements. But I would love for you to pull the dock repairs out of that resolution. I do not support money for Julian B. Lane dock repairs, at least out of this budget. Julian B. Lane is not a small neighborhood park, first of all. Second of all, they have an event center that makes money. They can pay for their own dock repairs, and I would like to know if there's any type of warranty on this equipment, which is not very old. Next, there was a $650,000 easement granted because of construction and a pipeline project in my immediate neighborhood. That money did go into the small neighborhood parks budget. We would really like it to go to that park that was ripped up, or the Port Tampa Community Center, which is also connected to that, or there's dugouts that are completely unusable in Port Tampa. What we don't want is for half of that money to go to the dock repairs at Julian B. Lane Park. Also, we have $2 million that was received for AJ Paloma's Park back in 2021 that still has not been spent. So let's spend that money, make some progress on those improvements, and then once we get that, we could talk about giving the administration the money for Julian B. Lane dock repairs. We do support any excess funds from 2025 going to South Tampa Parks, specifically for repairs to our small parks and also for some major improvements at Gadsden. Next, I want to talk about trees. I do support paying the water department back for the type 1 and type 2 trees. They were doing the right thing. The type 3 trees, I think, should be paid for out of a different budget so that we can protect the integrity of the tree trust fund. I would like to know if the requirements have yet been met to be able to use the tree trust fund money again. I selfishly ask this because I am making progress in my quest to get trees planted at West Shore Elementary, and I'm sure they would like to use that money. But when you do turn that spigot back on, I hope that you require type 1 or type 2 trees only for tree trust fund money. And I would like to see the Tremendous Tree Program opened to placing the trees other places besides just in the right-of-way. Those are two really easy things that you probably have full agreement on that you could vote on today and start making some progress in this area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ashley Morrow, followed up by Mentez Knott and Pam Canella.
Hello, my name is Ashley Morrow, and I will be sharing Tampa's Black history, but first I want to make a statement. I enjoy living in District 5, East Tampa, but I have noticed some things as I moved here and just been observative of a lot of things. And I've spoken with Gwen about this stuff at the link too. But anyways, communication. I feel like we need more consistent two-way communication instead of just coming to City Council and it's a one-way, you cannot respond. Regular newsletters and standing public forums scheduled in advance so people can plan ahead, This would alleviate a lot of community frustration. Development. Stronger alignment is needed between the CAC, City Council, and CRA staff. RFPs for vacant lots are expected to be released, I guess, this month, and I'm hopeful that local Black developers are awarded some of those opportunities. Solution is pending for that, so I don't have a solution for that. The next, resource transparency and access. We need clarity on how funds are distributed, who receives them, how they're being used, and most importantly, how small community organizations can get access to them. I would suggest setting up workshops if you already do them, maybe streaming them and sharing them online so that others can see them later. Because if they happen and nobody's there or the attendance is low, that doesn't help anybody. And I mean all of the organizations. I'm not attacking any organization. I love all y'all. We're all on the same page and we want all the good things to happen in East Tampa, West Tampa, all of them. North, South, East, whatever. Okay. Next, restoring pride in keeping our community clean. So I just learned about Sweep Week. I didn't know about Sweep Week last year, and unfortunately Gwen had passed probably during that span of time, but I'm seeing mattresses and dressers and things in people's backyards, not out by the curb, but I guess Sweep Week is the week they come and pick up things for free. So I would love if we push for that this year, because I'm seeing that. I saw a whole mattress in front of Gary School on 40th last week. I hope it's removed by now. And then finally, misinformation. Whew. Misinformation is spreading like wildfire through my community, and it's creating unnecessary division. Local advocate leaders should move away from attacking each other and towards transparent information sharing with members and each other, the leaders. Accurate communication is essential, along with broader inclusion of across generations, class, backgrounds at the decision table. If you're looking around at your e-board or your table and you see everybody looks like it's your same age or they come from your same background or class, mix it up a bit, because you need to see some other people's perspectives. And that's everything for me. Here's a little graphic I created for you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mendez Knott, followed by Pam Canella and John Greed.
Mendez Knott, Tampa, Florida. I'd like to give a little statistical information. I want to say uhuru, and uhuru means freedom in Swahili, and we as African people should always be thinking about our freedom. But I'd like to give a little statistical information. 85% of the world's population is gay. 85% is gay or either had a gay experience, one way or another, by force or by choice or by whatsoever. Now, it's the difference between gay and closet gay, but 85% of the world's population is gay.
What is happening?
Another bit of statistical information. The police murder 100 Africans per day. Every day. That's just in North America. The police and police-related organizations murder 100 African people per day since 1865. That's 700 Africans murdered by the police every single week. 2,800 per month since 1865. Now I want to talk about hypocrisy and hypocrites. Two hypocrites sitting right in this room. One reading the rules of decorum before anything gets started. Another one talking about, let's have a moment of silence for Renee Good, woman that was murdered by ICE. The police kill black people every day. This woman already got $400,000 last night alone off the internet because white lives matter. The people, the Jews murdering hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, and no moment of silence for the Palestinian kids or adults getting murdered, or the group that the white folks created called Hamas. Ain't no such group as Hamas. The white folks created them to do what they want to do. And this dumb, ignorant city council never talk about anything important to African people. We're 26% of the population. We want to talk about reparations. That's what we want to talk about. San Francisco just say, Hey, let's talk about I said $3 million per African man, woman, and child. San Francisco said $5 million. All this ignorant stupidity y'all talk about, black people have no interest in it, absolutely, positively none. We want to start talking about us and our generation and our future. And the KKK is back in the rise. They slave catching went down to Venezuela, slave catch someone, and y'all want to have a moment of silence because white lives matter and a white woman that got killed somewhere doing something. It's disingenuous, it's dishonest, and it's distasteful to African people.
Thank you very much. Pam Canella, followed by John Gree and Shurgat Doss.
Let me take a breath. All right, my name is Pam Canella, and this is in reference to number 32 on the agenda. It does need to be removed because there's inconsistencies in this agreement that can also be viewed as misinformation. A formal amendment order is required per the grant agreement, page number 1, for changes in the expiration date, increase in agreement funding, and a change in match requirements. Attachment 1A, number 44, asks for complete and accurate information, yet no actual cost agreement has been said. It was based on 65 million, but could be 100 million. There's no formal report has been presented for the design project or impacts. Project description changes on the project webpage almost every day. Project states to protect 259-acre area from 100-year flooding, but our mayor and staff have said no protection from hurricanes. Protect 7 neighborhoods from flooding, yet doesn't address Palmacia Pines flooding. My concerns on October 23, 2025 City Council meeting, it was acknowledged by Mr. Ruggiero that the lack of funding for future improvement projects. There are no funding, and I don't want my taxes raised. How is sea level rise being addressed? The City of Tampa Vulnerability Assessment states water coming into outfalls and inlets at Bayshore would flood that area, but yet we're going to put water out that area. The streetscape is not a stormwater project, so why is it always part of the Howard project? It's not part of this funding. I'm neutral. I'm not here for one neighborhood or the other. I'm for all the neighborhoods. I'm here to try to make things right and make the best decision for the neighborhoods. And this Howard project is not it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. John Gree, followed by Shurgat Doss and Pastor Williams.
That's only to show that I'm doing my homework. I'm John Green. I'm here to speak on the issue that the president of the ATU who worked for this city, Stephen Simon, who refused to address the issues for the employees of the city and the community. It's about the trash pickup during the holidays. I have documentation showing you to make my case, but I want to start the conversation by saying, if the city can approve to give Hart $1.6 million for Route 1, why can't this city pay its employees overtime to pick up the trash north of Tampa, not south, and no offenses to the south, from MLK? So I'm asking that this council help us restore the respect and dignity to the black community and business in the north side of this city, to the community that we dearly love. Now, Simon Peter comes here and in this community, and he disrespect his own peers, his own employees as an ATU member. I'm an ex-vice president of ATU for Hart, right? And I know this because I worked with one of his employees, Brian Walker, who has been fired, how he misleads them in terms of the procedures and work with management to help get people fired. I'm pissed. Who helps get people fired from working with the staff, right? This is only the beginning. This is only to start the conversation, and I will be coming back to protect the employees of this city as long as they're asking me to. And about the trash in our poor, who may see it as poor communities, right? We still have dignity. Trash can be picked up. And if you can find $1.6 million to give to Hart, when Hart got a $38 million reserve, and you disrespect your own city, we all can make Tampa a better place if with respect and dignity, and specifically to the black community. Bishop Michelle B. Patty and I would like to congratulate all the women who have been trailblazing, specifically the black women who have been the backbone of this community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shigrette Doss and Pastor Williams.
Good morning, Shigrette Doss, and I'm going to retailer and calibrate what I originally was going to start, but I'm going to make sure I get to a particular point. I want everybody to take a look at this right here, and please don't block it out. I underlined this name, Greg Holder, for a reason, and a couple of you all know why. So he called this case management conference, and then he had a couple people show up from firms that supposedly represented banks before you all helped them steal one of my properties. This lady, this so-called law firm never ever had a merger. And this attorney, and I'm also speaking to the attorneys in the room and those who are listening, never made an appearance in the record, even though she claimed to have made an appearance in the record. And the statement that supposedly was attributed to me, I never said. As you see, the court, which would be Greg Holder, said that I supposedly made this statement, which I didn't make. And also, Greg Holder, who at the time was a judge, by the way, said he witnessed me in another judge's courtroom, which I didn't know judges did that kind of thing. But, you know, a couple guys came up to me one day and asked me, you know, if insulting racists and bigots and holding people, and people holding high positions would ever help me. And I had to remind them that being professional, courteous, honest, diplomatic ain't done an MFing thing for me. I still ain't got my damn houses, and I still was facing 5 years. And I'm doing these things thinking about other people as well. And I don't look for an excuse not to confront devils, bigots, and racists. I want you all to smell my cologne. And I'm here to assert that Gregory Holder never deserved the title of honorable. And if General Mark Kelly can lose his position in anything he earned, that POS can do the same can be done for him. And I'm speaking to you, Ron DeSantis, and any other governor, whoever comes behind him, Judicial Qualifications Committee. And I'm not just talking about the fact that Gregory Holder was reprimanded a couple of months before me because he pushed down Dr. Genshaft at USF. I'm talking about him because he's a stinking skin MF who tried to put me in prison for 5 years. And I know a lot of people that don't have melanin in their blood, and a lot of them that do have melanin that wish they didn't have it, have worked so hard to undermine that weak-ass apology that the city of Tampa gave back in 2020 for discrimination against black folks. If you ever had a case in Hillsborough County that involved Gregory Holder or Detective Mike Victor, I highly suggest you have that case reviewed. I can almost promise you something bad went on with your case. That being said, shout out to the greatest institution of higher learning in the city of Tampa, the University of Thomas Jefferson High School.
Thank you very much. Pastor Williams, followed by Karen Clay and Michael Randolph.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank Sister Lockie here for putting my name on the list because I thought I had signed the list. But you know what? I first want to give praises to God Almighty.
Can you start with your name?
That's my master. Huh?
Can you start with your name, please?
Say what?
Your name. Can you give us your name?
Oh, sure. Yeah, my name is Pastor William. I thought I said that. Okay, Pastor William. And what I'm interested in can make me forget my thoughts. So now what I'm interested in, they hadn't cut my water on yet. My granddaughter was staying with me. She had to move out. But I'm still there, waiting for them to come cut my water on. But they send me a bill every month. In fact, they send me 2 bills once a month. The way y'all treat people of color and other people that y'all don't want to respect, you don't respect them and you don't say nothing about it. You act like you care less. Like I come up here and tell you week after week, we all are nothing but human beings. And that's the way we want to be treated, like a human person. Thank God that we're here today, the year 2026. That's a blessing for all of us. But some of us know you ain't going to give God no praise because you don't care nothing about God. But I have to let you know, I care a whole lot about God. He's the one that created us, all of us. And we need to act like it. Tell him thanks sometime. Praise his holy name sometime. Glorify him sometime. But when I come in here many years ago, they told me I had to sit down because I wasn't supposed to pray in the name of Jesus. But I'm letting you know, that's the only prayer I know how to pray, in the name of Jesus. I don't know how to pray no other prayer, but God has been so good to us, and he continues to bless us every day of our life. And we don't have sense enough to look up to tell God, thank you, Father, for another day. Thank God for this 2026. A lot of them done gone, but we still here to praise and glorify his holy name. And I thank this man for giving me the cross. Let me know that when I die, I'm going to die on the cross. And God has been so good to us. You know what? I have a whole lot to say, but when I get up here, my throats leave me for some reason. But I got to let y'all know that we have to treat each other like a human being. Black folk, brown folk, yellow folk, white folk, and everybody else. You know what I mean? Treat us right. I passing my flyer out here to the attorney, and you know what? He give it back to me.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
you have
I
a
know
great
you.
rest of your day. Okay, next, Karen Clay,
God bless you.
and followed by Michael Randolph.
You betcha. Good afternoon, almost. Thank you. My name is Karen Clay. I head up the Democratic Disability Caucus of Florida, as well as the Disability Caucus of Hillsborough County, and most proudly, the Michael Phillips Foundation. I'm here today to speak in behalf of the resolution that Councilman Vieira is making to name the Disability Interns Program after my son, Michael Phillips. I am proud and honored and humbled to be here today and thanking all of you and thanking the mayor and the staff and the city for having a program that so many cities in this country do not have and are almost afraid to have because they do not like using the words, diversity, equity, and inclusion. But the city of Tampa has no problem using those words. I thank you all so much, and I hope that you will all support the resolution. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Michael Randolph.
CDC. We are standing in a moment that feels heavy to so many. In 2006, mass layoffs and shrinking fundings don't just strain nonprofits, they will shake the stabilities of families, neighborhoods, and entire communities. Demand is raising, resources are disappearing, and for many, this crisis is personal. It's rent, it's food, it's dreams delayed. That's why we can't wait. AI gives us a way forward. By using AI as an impact amplifier, we stabilize our mission and build a lean, resident-centered model that honors people's time, dignity, and potential. AI will support 85% of our operation, management, scheduling, data analysts, communication, and curriculums. As staff can stay fully present with the residents that walk through our doors seeking help. AI will allow us to fully operate on a budget of $245,000 instead of a traditional $620,000. But the deep transformation happens when residents use the software themselves. AI will help them build resumes, build skill gaps, and gain coaching that builds confidence. It acts as a virtual business partner for new entrepreneurs. Through targeted training, we will prepare residents for over 45 tech-related jobs, opening doors once closed. This unified model doesn't just reduce costs and expand access, it restores possibility. It positions our community not to survive change, but to shape it with innovation, equity, and art. For those not in West Tampa, join us as we're hosting an important conversation on how artificial intelligence can transform marginalized communities, expand capital, and help build generational wealth. We will explore practical tools, real-world examples, and community-driven strategies that put AI to work to empower community. Next, I want to honor Robin Knocker for her tireless campaign that empowers and amplifies voices across Marshall community. And finally, Councilman Miranda, thank you for everything that you do. At 70, I hope I'm as good as you when I reach your age. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are going to go ahead to committee reports to try to get through our consent agenda. So I'm going to start with Councilman Vieira and items 4 through 6.
Yes, ma'am. And by the way, before, I wanted to say this, that we never respond to public comment during that time, but I just want to say I know former Judge Greg Holder, and I don't think there's a man who I consider to be a better person of integrity and decency than Judge Greg Holder, just for the record. Based upon that, I move items 4 through 6.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Vieira, second from Councilman Maniscalco. We will have to do these via roll call. Or can I, Mr. Shelby, can we do these voice vote with Mr. Clendenin or no?
No, this would be by voice vote, please.
So, roll call, please. Or no, I can do voice vote?
No, actually, what I meant by roll call.
Okay, yeah.
Individual, we need to do
Okay,
it.
roll call, please.
Hurtak,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Clendenin.
You're muted.
Yes.
Okay, item, Councilwoman Young.
I move items 7 through 12.
Second.
Motion from Councilwoman Young, second from Councilman Miranda. Roll call?
Young,
Yes.
Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Hurtak,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Okay. Councilman Maniscalco.
I move items 13 through 21.
Second.
A motion from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda. Roll call?
Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Hurtak,
Yes.
Young, Clendenin.
Yes.
Okay. Councilman Miranda.
Thank you. Move items 22 to 25.
I have a motion for, to move items 22 through to 25 from Councilman Miranda, seconded from Councilman Maniscalco. Roll call?
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Hurtak,
Yes.
Young, Vieira,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Okay. Councilman Carlson.
I move 26 through 31.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilman Carlson, second from Councilman Maniscalco. Roll call?
Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Hurtak,
Yes.
Young, Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Okay, I am going to ask Councilman Maniscalco to move 33 through 35.
I move items 33 through 35.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco. I heard a second from Councilman Vieira. Roll call?
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Hurtak,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Vieira,
Vieira?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, yes, yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Okay, then I need a motion to approve items 49, 50, 51, 52, and 54.
So moved. Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Miranda, a second from Councilman Vieira. Roll call vote?
Hurtak,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Okay, so how do we feel about kind of zooming through these second readings since we have lawyers and folk here? I think we can get it done in 10 minutes. I don't know, we'll see. If it gets bad, we'll reconsider, but,
And
okay.
Madam Chair, if I may really quick?
Yes.
I didn't want to interrupt the consent agenda. Just want to note that 22 is the repaving of New Tampa Boulevard, and we're, that's been on our radar since I got elected, and so we're just very thankful for everybody at Mobility for working with us on that, and there's a long story behind that, but just thank you.
It's about 2.5 miles.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. A motion to open the public hearings.
So move.
I have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, a second from Councilman Miranda. I can do that one voice vote, right?
Yes.
Yeah, all in favor? Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Yes.
Madam Chair, just to go back to what was agreed on during the approval of the agenda, did you want, and this is directed to Councilman Vieira, did you want item number 53 done before lunch, before doing second reads? Or did you?
Officer Lopez?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, if I may, that's going to be the 3 minutes.
Okay, go right ahead. 53.
Well,
Might as
let's
well.
let's do it. So all and Chief Lopez, if you want to come forward, if I may, Madam Chair, this is the grandson of Patrolman Morris Lopez, who's here, who many of us know and is such a fine man. I remember meeting Chief Lopez at Jesse Madsen's funeral. I remember that well. And so, long story short, we've been talking about doing something for the late Patrolman Morris Lopez, who gave all on July 9th of 1949 in Ybor City at 7th and 16th. The story, there was a great story a year and a half ago that Paul Guzzo wrote on it, and he really did a fine job on it. Talks a lot about not just the sacrifice that he had, Patrolman Lopez had, but in saving the life of a newspaper boy, and how that man's son would become a firefighter, and then Lopez's grandson, you, would become a firefighter as well. And I know your grandfather wanted to become an attorney, I remember reading. So what I was going to do, we've run into some issues with the area in Ybor City with regards to a plaque, a historical marker, and so forth. And I thought it wise, just to make it more efficient, to do a street renaming. Obviously, given the fact that it's Ybor City, wherever it may be. So I wanted to, Chief Lopez wanted to speak for 45 seconds, if I may, Madam, on this. Thank you, sir.
For the record, Morris Lopez III. Good morning or afternoon, council members. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak today. I'd like to go off of what Councilman Maniscalco said this morning. What a great day to start out the new year. I mean, there was a whole lot of love in this room this morning. It was good to be here, so I feel special. I'm here today on behalf of my family to thank the council for considering to honor my grandfather, who served the city in a sworn role and honored that oath by giving his life in that service as a Tampa police officer, ultimately making the greatest sacrifice a public servant can make. His commitment to the city was never about recognition. It was about duty, responsibility, and answering his calling to serve others. He believed deeply in this community and in doing the work quietly and honorably. A street bearing in his name would serve as a lasting reminder of the sacrifice not only made by my grandfather, but by all those who have served this great city, and they've spent their lives in service doing it. My family is very grateful for your time and for the good work that each of you do every day for your community, which I feel goes unnoticed. Thank you so much for hearing me, and have a great day.
You need your mic on.
And before, if Councilman Miranda wanted to speak.
Yeah, if I, Mr. Lopez, I was a young kid when this happened. And I believe your grandmother's name Maria Justa, am I correct?
Yeah, that was her.
And I remember that when I was a kid because it left an essay impression in my mind. Her sister was named Olga.
Yes.
And my uncle was married to Olga. So I knew that when that incident happened, it was a family affair and I remember the chatter among the members. So I never forgot what happened to your grandfather. And I admire Mr. Vieira for what he's doing. And again, you had a great grandfather and your grandmother. I knew them personally.
My grandmother spoke very highly of you.
Yeah. And God bless your family.
Thank you. God bless you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Chief. We appreciate you, sir. God bless you. So I've done the memo, and Brandon, do you mind giving this to Chief Lopez if you don't mind it? I don't know if he saw it. Thank you so much. So I've done the memo. I know that we need 2 weeks, so I've done that. We're going to have support from Cindy Roberts, the widow of the late Corporal Mike Roberts, the cops organizations, the fire unions, Hillsborough County, City of Tampa, PBA, and everything on this. So we'll bring this back pursuant to our rules. But I just wanted to address this, and my 3 minutes are up. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay, we'll do file number 36. Yeah, we opened, these are the non-quasi. So item number 36. Is there any staff here for item number 36?
Yeah.
Oh, there's Mr.
Ross
Salmons.
Salmons, presenting file number 36, VAC 25-19. I'm available if you have any questions.
Hey, any questions? Okay. Petitioner, or is that us? Petitioner? Do we have a petitioner? Okay. Any people, anyone from the public wish to speak to this item? Okay, have a motion to close by Councilman Miranda, a second from Councilman Maniscalco. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilman Carlson.
I'd like to move item number 36, file number VAC 25-19, ordinance being presented for second reading adoption, an ordinance of the City of Tampa, Florida, vacating, closing, discontinuing, and abandoning that alleyway located north of 7th Avenue, south of 9th Avenue, east of 42nd Street, and west of 43rd Street within the revised map of Enterprise Subdivision, a subdivision in the City of Tampa, Hillsborough County, Florida, as more fully described in Section 2 hereof, subject to certain covenants, conditions, and restrictions as more particularly set forth herein, providing for enforcement and penalties for violations, providing for definitions, interpretation, and repealing conflicts, providing for severability, providing effectivity.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Carlson, a second from Councilman Miranda. Roll call?
Maniscalco?
Yes.
Hurtak?
No.
Young?
Yes.
Vieira?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Miranda?
Yes.
Clendenin?
Yes.
Okay.
Motion passes with Hurtak voting no.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Salmons, item number 37.
Ross Salmons, Development Coordination, presenting file number VAC 25-15 for second reading adoption. I'm available if you have any questions.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, do I have a petitioner?
Hi, Nick Sanders, Stearns Weaver Miller for the applicant. I'm just here if you have any questions. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, anyone from the public here to speak on this item? Okay, I have a motion to close by Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, Councilman Vieira, please, item number 37.
Yes, ma'am. I move ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, file number VAC 2515, an ordinance of the City of Tampa, Florida, vacating, closing, discontinuing, abandoning a portion of 31st Street, a portion of 15th Avenue in that alleyway that are located north of Interstate 4, south of Columbus Drive, east of CSX Railroad, west of Yale Street, within map of Vadado, a subdivision of the City of Tampa, Hillsborough County, Florida, is more particularly described in Section 2 hereof, subject to certain covenants, conditions, and restrictions as more particularly set forth herein, providing for enforcement and penalties for violations, providing for definitions, interpretations, and repealing conflicts, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Vieira, seconded by Councilman Miranda. Roll call?
Young?
Yes.
Vieira?
Yes.
Carlson?
Yes.
Miranda?
Yes.
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Hurtak,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Thank you. Mr. Vieira, were you,
Yeah, oh, yes, ma'am. Reviewed everything and so forth, absolutely.
so for both 38 and 39?
Absolutely,
Okay,
yes, ma'am.
excellent. Okay, item number 38.
Hi, Happy New Year. Dana
Happy
Crosby
New Year.
Collier from the City Attorney's Office. Eric Cotton from Development Coordination and Dennis Fernandez from Historic Preservation are on the line if you all have any questions. We're here today on item 38, which is the second reading of the Land Development Code text amendment regarding the Ybor City parking requirements. As you'll recall, this amendment is necessary due to the recent changes in state law, Senate Bill 180. And I do have a slide if you want a little refresher on, oh, I did it right this time. Okay, there you go. Just taking this ordinance back to what we had on August 1st, 2024. It'll be effective retroactively to that date. So in other words, will take effect immediately.
Okay. Any questions?
Can I just, I think
Councilman
everybody who's
Crawford.
interested in this has watched already, but the idea is that if the state will change it, we'll change it back, so.
Exactly. Thank you very much. Do we have anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this?
Stephanie Pointer, for the record, Senate Bill 180 sucks.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay. Motion to, do I have a motion to close? I have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, a second from Councilman Vieira. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Councilwoman Young, please turn on your mic.
File number E2025-8, CH27, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance of the City of Tampa, Florida relating to publicly initiated text amendments, making revisions to the City of Tampa Code of Ordinances, amending Section 27 through 178, parking requirements, providing for severability, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict therewith, providing an effective date.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Young. I have a second from Councilman Maniscalco. Roll call.
Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Hurtak,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much. Item number 39.
Ross Sammons, Development Coordination, presenting file number BAC 20-06 for second reading and adoption. I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions? Is there a petitioner?
Good afternoon, City Council. Ryan Benassi with Johnson Pope, Director of Planning, and I'm just here for any questions should you have any.
Okay, excellent. Any questions from, okay, is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak to this item? Okay, can I get a motion to close?
Second.
I have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, a second from Councilman Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Councilman Maniscalco, would you please read this?
I have an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance of the City of Tampa, Florida, amending ordinance number 2021-6, passed and ordained on January 14, 2021, which vacated, closed, discontinued, and abandoned two rights-of-way located south of 26th Avenue, north of Plymouth Street, east of Taliaferro Avenue, and west of Nebraska, as more fully described below, to extend the 5-year reverter clause 5 additional years to allow more time to commence vertical construction, repealing conflicts, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Miranda. Roll call.
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Hurtak,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Vieira,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Okay, next we have our quasi-judicial. If you are here to speak on items 40 through 43, please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth? I do.
Okay, and Councilman Clendenin, were you able to review items 40 through 43?
I watched the hearings, and I am prepared to vote.
Okay, great. So item number 40.
Good afternoon, Council. For the record, Christopher DeMonch with Development Coordination. Item number 40 is REZ 25104. This item is a rezoning request for property located at 4311 West Gray Street. The request is to rezone from RS50 to planned development for single-family attached uses. Revisions have been completed and certified plans have been submitted to the clerk's office, and I'm available for any questions.
Okay, are there any questions? Okay, applicant.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Giselle Moda, and I'm the agent representing the property owner on behalf of REZ 25104. We're excited about this project and have successfully completed several projects in the area. We were pleased with the findings of consistency for rezoning staff and the initial approval at the first hearing, and we appreciate the opportunity to continue through this process. The owner and I are here for any questions.
Okay, any questions? Anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item? Okay, can I get a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion to close by Councilman Maniscalco, seconded from Councilman Miranda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Councilman Miranda, would you be willing to read this?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item number 40, file number REZ 25-104. Ordinance being presented for second reading adoption. An ordinance rezoning property in general vicinity 4311 West Gray Street in the city of Tampa, Florida, more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classification RS50, residential single family, to PD plan development residential single family attached, providing an effective date.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Miranda, a second from Councilman Vieira. Roll call?
Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Hurtak,
No.
Young, Young,
Yes.
Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Motion carried with Hurtak voting no.
Okay, Councilman Clendenin, do you feel comfortable reading an item, or would you wish to be skipped?
Yeah, I can read it if you want me
Okay,
to.
thank you.
Trevor,
Okay.
Trevor's best for you.
Okay, item number 41.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, for the record, Christopher DeMonch, Development Coordination. Item 41 is REZ 25105. This is a rezoning request for property located at 1112 West LaSalle Street. The request is to rezone from RS50 to planned development for single-family semi-detached. Revisions have been completed and certified plans have been submitted to the clerk's office, and I'm available for any questions.
Okay, any questions? Okay, do we have an applicant?
Yes. Hi, good afternoon, Council. Again, my name is Giselle Moda, representing the property owner as the agent for REZ 25105. Again, we appreciate the initial findings of consistency by rezoning staff and initial approval at first hearing. The owner and I are here for any questions.
Okay, any questions? Anyone in the public wish to make a comment?
Move to close.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to close by Councilman Miranda, second by Councilman Maniscalco. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Chair Clendenin.
Sure. I move file number REZ 25105, an ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, an ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 1112 West LaSalle Street in the city of Tampa, Florida, and more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classifications RS50 residential single family to PD planned development residential single family semi-detached, providing an effective date.
Second.
I have a motion by Chair Clendenin. I have a second from Councilman Maniscalco. Roll call?
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Hurtak,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes, and I move the resolution.
Second.
Actually, we need to let him read the
Okay.
Motion carried unanimously.
Okay, now, Chair Clendenin.
Now I move the resolution.
Second.
I have a motion from Chair Clendenin to move the resolution attached to REZ 25-105, and a second from Councilman Miranda. Roll call?
Young,
Yes.
Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco,
Yes.
Hurtak,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Resolution passed.
Okay, excellent. Item number 42.
Thank you. Again, for the record, Christopher DeMonch, Development Coordination. Item number 42 is REZ 25128. This item is a rezoning request for the property located at 3812 Pinewood Street. The request is to rezone from planned development to planned development for hotel use. Revisions have been completed and certified plans have been submitted to the clerk's office. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, any questions? Okay.
Stuart Gardner, 400 North Ashley Drive. Happy New Year to each of you. And all of our revisions have been made, including the one we agreed to at council, which was making the reference and a note to the license agreement for that additional parking. And happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Okay. Do we have anyone from the public who wishes to speak to this item?
Stephanie Pointer. I support this project and I support the park, or not park, that's going in next to it. And we appreciate them working with us. Yes, Greenway, whatever. It's for Lisa Cheshire. And we're happy to hear that we're going to have more temporary housing for McDill because they really do need it. We don't need more people on our roads, so this is going to cure that problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Maniscalco, second from Councilman Vieiro. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. I believe I left off with Councilman Carlson.
42, right?
Mm-hmm.
Move item 42, file number REZ 25-128, ordinance being presented for second reading and adoption, ordinance rezoning property in the general vicinity of 3812 Pinewood Street in the city of Tampa, Florida, more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classification PD plan development to PD plan development hotel, providing an effective date.
Motion from Councilman Carlson, seconded by Councilman Miranda. Roll call?
Hurtak,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda,
Yes.
Maniscalco.
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Okay, item number 43.
Thank you, Madam
Oh,
Chair.
yeah,
For the
we're not
record,
voting.
again, Christopher DeMonch, Development Coordination. Item number 43 is REZ 2601. This item is a rezoning request for property located at 1942, 1946, and 1948 West Spruce Street. The request is a rezone from RS50 to planned development for single-family detached uses. Revisions have been completed and certified plans have been provided to the clerk's office, and I am available for any questions.
Any questions? Okay, petitioner.
Steve Michelini representing the petitioner, and you may recall that one of your motions was to have the elevations that we'd presented at the city council to be reflected on the site plan, and we've done that, and that the site plans have been certified. So I thank
Excellent.
you very much, and it's also already been reviewed and approved by the historic preservation folks with the overlay district restrictions.
Okay. Excellent. Any questions? Okay. Anyone in the public wishes to speak on this item? Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Miranda, second from Councilman Maniscalco. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Councilman Vieira, would you like to read this?
Yes, ma'am, I will. Hereby move file number NCA 25-18998.
Nope, we're at 43.
Oh, what am I? I'm sorry. Sorry.
That's
What
okay.
am I? It's not even an ordinance. Okay, sorry. That's funny. I hereby move REZ 2601, ordinance presented for second reading and adoption. Ordinance rezoning property in general vicinity of 1942, 1946, 1948 West Spruce Street in the city of Tampa, Florida, more particularly described in section 1 from zoning district classification RS50 residential single family to PD plan development residential single family detached, providing an effective date.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Vieira, seconded by Councilman Miranda. Roll call?
Young, Vieira,
Yes.
Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda, Maniscalco. Hurtak,
Yes.
Clendenin.
Yes.
Motion carried
And I
unanimously.
move the resolution if I may.
Okay, I have a motion to move the resolution by Councilman Vieira, seconded by Councilman Maniscalco. Roll call?
Vieira, Carlson,
Yes.
Miranda, Maniscalco. Hurtak,
Yes.
Young, Clendenin.
Yes.
Motion carried unanimously.
Okay,
Thank you,
so
council.
we are now at, when we come back, we are going to do items 57, 32, and 59. Is that what we're going to be beginning with? Okay, so that's how we're going to begin. It is 12:21. You all tell me. 2 o'clock. Okay, we will be starting with item number 57 at 2 o'clock. Enjoy your lunch.
Thank you.